Chapter 051. As soon as the subtitles on the scroll came out, in an instant, the barrage climaxed again. A large number of ninjas in the original ninja world, especially Konoha, were the most excited, and countless people frantically refreshed their screens. Because, in another world, they saw the best and most coveted powerful Konoha. The picture scroll has made it very clear that all the 7 ninja sects under the king have shadow-level experts at the lowest level, and among them are super shadows. From the first generation of the 7 ninja sect under the king to the current 7 ninja sect under the king, excluding the 3 duplicates, there are a total of 11 names. Orochimaru, Uchiha Fugaku, Mat Dai, Namikaze Minato, Uzumaki Kushina, Senju Tsunade, Uzumaki Kana, Hatake Kakashi, Uchiha Sure, Met Kai, Uehara, Naruto. This does not include some people who are not on the list but are very capable. For example, Jiraiya, Hatake Shigesaku, and the 4th Hokage, Uehara Shimei, who is known as the strongest in the ninja world. There are a total of 14 Kage levels, and they are still the least, because the 7 ninja sect under the king only lists the strongest in a certain aspect, and it is not a comprehensive consideration of strength. According to some discussions in the barrage, it is easy to see that many other ninjas are also quite powerful. For example, Mangekyo Uchiha Obito, Sage Mode Yakushi Kabuto, Sasuke Uehara and Neji Uehara, who are equally famous as Naruto Uehara, Uehara Maki, who has already created his own name at a young age and vowed to one day kill the Hokage building and win the bird position, etc. Even though some of these people are not yet at the film level, they are definitely not far behind. What is the concept of so many top experts gathering together? How about just beating the whole ninja world? Hatake Kakashi, who has been lashing out at F4 from the beginning of the comparison video, even made his other eye red. Tsunade was also silent for a while. It's not that she feels ashamed, it's that the gap is really too big. If you peek through the tube, you can see a Madara. Characters of the level of Jiraiya and Hatake Shigesaku were not included, let alone those who came after them. Even the first generation did not have their names. You can clearly detect the exaggerated strength of this member of the 7 ninja sect. These 2 top experts who are firmly in the shadow level all behave like this, not to mention a large number of other ordinary ninjas. Each and every one of them was sour to the sky. The more bitter and envious the person is, the worse the F4 will be scolded. I'm not afraid of poor performance, I'm afraid of comparison. Look at their lineup. Original Senju Tobirama, Undead, have shadow-level experts begun to appear in the new generation? They can still be the strongest in a certain aspect. Ninja World 4th Generation Yuzuki AI. The 7 ninja sects under the king are not only the strongest in Konoha, but each of them is also a top expert who dominates the ninja world and has a great reputation. 3rd Generation Raikage and I were defeated by 2 generations of T-Zone. The 7th gate can still be touched, but the 8th gate is completely helpless. Anoki of the ninja world. There is nothing you can do if you encounter a monster like Shimei Uehara. Original Namikaze Minato. Isn't the opening of the 8th gates of the 8 gates armor certain death? Ninja World Hatake Sakumo. 4th generation improved this technique. He used sealing techniques to create a sealing circle that can cover the whole body. Not only does it reduce the difficulty of practicing 8 gates, but also reduces the damage to the body during practice and activation, even after it is turned on. The power intensity, strike accuracy, and energy utilization efficiency are greatly increased. Moreover, as long as you practice to a certain level, you can truly fully open the 8 gates without dying. Even the damage can be controlled to a certain range, but not many people can do this currently. Original Watermelon Mountain Pufferfish Ghost, Undead, wouldn't there be a bunch of 8 gates? This would be too scary. Original Koritsumeru, Undead, that technique was really terrifying. The Kirigakure Village tried their best to form a group of 7 ninja swordsmen, but 4 of them were kicked to death by him. A group of people were chatting animatedly. In the primitive ninja world, Jiraiya suddenly couldn't help it. Original Jiraiya, Undead, I don't believe it. I'm not in it. Is Mount Mayaboku Toad Sage so shameless? Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Original Jiraiya, Undead. Why don't you add Sage Jutsu and make it the 8 ninja sect? Hey, I'm the only one who knows Sage Jutsu. Ninja Medicine Master Kabuto. Well, I'm sorry, but I can actually Sage Jutsu, and I'm the perfect Sage mode for Ruji Cave. Naruto Uehara in the ninja world. Uncle Jiraiya. I can do it too. It's also a perfect Sage Jutsu. I relied on this to superimpose Kagura's inner eye to defeat Aunt Kana. Ninja Realm Uehara Maki. The perfect Sage mode is here in the Wet Bone Forest. Are you kidding me? The Sea Messenger? Ninja World Orochimaru. Uehara has made it easier to use Sage Jutsu. Tsunade and I can now use it a little bit, but we are not as perfect and skilled as them. Original Jiraiya. Jiraiya was confused. What the hell? Is Sage mode so worthless now? At a time when everyone was surprised and discussing, on the scroll, the golden light of the subtitles disappeared and the video started playing again. In the center of a huge square with terraced seats all around, it resembles the Colosseum. 7 square platforms of 7 colors were built. As members of the first-generation King's 7 ninja sect, they were standing on it with proud faces, receiving cheers from all directions. Around here, almost every seat is fully occupied, and even the aisles are crowded with people. At a glance, there were at least tens of thousands of people. Many sharp-eyed ninjas also saw the shadow of their own ninja village in the flash of the audience. Obviously, this is an event. Not only Konoha, but also the entire ninja world. The picture was displayed for a few seconds, and a black figure suddenly appeared in the sky. Today, Shimei Uehara is wearing a dress designed by himself. The main body is black, gradually turning golden from top to bottom, and the skirt position has a touch of orange-red. It is also covered with complex and mysterious patterns and lines, and the 5 characters of 4th Hokage are written on the back. Looking from a distance, there is an indescribable sense of respect and luxury, and he is so handsome. And as soon as he appeared, suddenly, the entire square seemed to be on fire, turning into a sea of cheers. Countless people jumped up and clapped their hands vigorously, without stopping at all until their palms were completely red. The shouts came one after another until they were hoarse. Lord Hokage. 4th generation. Wow, wow, wow. Oh. Some brave female ninjas openly confessed. Lord Hokage, please take another wife. Master 4th generation, I want to give you a child. Uehara-kun, I wore the miniskirt you invented today. Everyone has an almost fanatical look on their face. The joy and excitement that was completely heartfelt and intense. Even the audience outside the video were completely infected. Just watching this video, I felt the urge to shout along with it. Although many people in the original ninja world knew that Uehara Shimei was very respected and sought after, they never expected that everyone would love him to such an extent. It's almost as fanatical as a cultist. Chapter 052. Looking at the numerous Konoha ninjas in the audience, as well as ordinary people and ninjas from other villages, the excitement and admiration that completely arises from the deepest part of my heart and can't help but be felt. Looking at their eyes that are as hot as flames, their excited expressions as if just one glance will make them happy for the rest of their lives, as well as their exaggerated movements and shouting without any regard for image, the countless viewers in the original ninja world felt mixed emotions in their hearts. They envied Uehara Shimei very much. After all, who wouldn't want to be so popular and sought after by thousands of people? But what they envied even more was these cheering people. I envy them to have such a great Hokage like Uehara Shimei. I envy them that they don't have to scheming, being careful, walking on thin ice, or even thinking or making any judgment calls. As long as you believe in a person wholeheartedly, as long as you follow his back and move forward, you can get everything you want, everything you have never imagined. This feeling is really, really good. Unfortunately, there is no such person in their ninja world. Can you believe it? In such a world full of hatred, killing, conspiracy, betrayal, hypocrisy, it can be said to be the most ed up world. So much so that even characters like Sarutobi Hiruzen don't look so hateful. After all, he would at least maintain his hypocrisy and put on a show. Original Ninja World. Hatake Kakashi squatted on a telephone pole and looked at the scene of people cheering in the video. The eye that was not covered by the forehead protector could not help but shed bitter tears. He thought of everything he had experienced in the past, from his father, to his teammates, to his teachers and his wife. There is not even a single person worth cherishing in his life left. And even after paying such a huge price and experiencing so much pain, in the end, nothing was gained. I guess it was to protect my loved ones. All of them were dead. Maybe it was to protect the village, which was declining day by day. It was for peace, for the future, to protect the flowers of the next generation, right? Children were sent to the battlefield. Such a painful and false reality made him lose his goal of moving forward. What's the point of practicing? What's the point of working hard? In the end, nothing can be changed. If he were the Hokage, I would definitely be willing to sacrifice my life, right? Kakashi shed tears and had indescribable mixed feelings in her heart. Not far away, Tsunade couldn't help but remain silent for a while, while looking at the picture in the video. At this moment, she finally understood her own choices in another world. If you are facing such a person, some minor problems are not surprising at all and are not worth paying too much attention to, right? The two top-level experts have a lot of feelings, not to mention the large number of other ordinary ninjas. No matter the big trees of the older generation or the seedlings of the new generation, they are all envious until their eyes turn red. I'm so envious. If he had done the Hokage, wouldn't my daughter have died? I really want to give it a try. The feeling of following such a character. It must be an unparalleled happiness that even if you die, you will have no regrets or even be honored. How can it be repaired? Why is there no Uehara Shimei in our world? Sarutobi Hiruzen, who looks amiable and upright, but is despised and hated by others. Uehara Shimei, who looks domineering, regards ninja rules as useless, and has so many shortcomings, is still believed in and followed by countless people. Ha ha, it's really ironic. Did you see it? Everyone's eyes are sharp. Only sincerity can win real support. In the video, Shimei Uehara didn't do much after he came on the stage. He just waved his hands gently around in response to the enthusiastic cheering audience. More than 10 seconds passed like this, and after everyone's emotions were almost relieved, they stretched out their hands and pressed them in the air to signal for silence. And with his action, the scene actually became completely quiet. As if the pause button had been pressed, everyone stopped speaking. He just stared at that extremely handsome figure in the sky with burning eyes. At this time, Shimei Uehara's unique voice also spread throughout the surroundings. I didn't expect that just recruiting a few teachers for the school would eventually turn into such a huge event. But since it has happened, and it has attracted so much attention, I will not be stingy in awarding the winner the honor he deserves. I, Shimei Uehara, declare in the name of the 4th Hokage of Konoha Ninja Village that the 7 ninja sect under the king is established. The so-called sect is a master of a dharma, a person who has reached the pinnacle of skill in a certain field, is respected by everyone, and can be regarded as a role model for others. The first members of the 7 ninja clan under the king are Orochimaru of the ninja sect, Uchiha Fugaku of the Genshu sect, Mat Dai of the Tai sect, Namikaze Minato of the Shun sect, Kushina Uzumaki of the Seal sect, Senju Tsunade of the medical sect, and Kana Uzumaki of the Seinshu sect. Everyone, honor is like a golden crown. It is not only a capital for bragging, but also a heavy responsibility. I hope you can live up to the 4 words of being a teacher: be conscientious, fulfill your duties, and water the future flowers of the village with your heart. With a majestic voice, 7 tailor-made robes, almost the same as Shimei Uehara's today except for the words on the back, were put directly on the 7 people. At the same time, the 7 gold tokens were engraved with the words forbearance, illusion, body, instant, sealed, medical, and sense on the front, and their names were engraved on the back. It slowly flew towards the 7 people from Shimei Uehara's hand. Boundless cheers and applause once again resounded throughout the square. Faced with such a scene, even with Orochimaru's character, he couldn't avoid it, and his eyes were blank for a while. Perhaps, in the old Konoha, he had the crazy idea of disregarding everything, giving up everything, and only pursuing the truth. But at this moment, facing Konoha like this, facing Konoha with Shimei Uehara, his mind began to go in another direction. Just like the person he was after the 4th Ninja War in the original work. Others, Mat Dai shouted youth. Namikaze Minato and Uzumaki Kana tried their best to show their composure, but their faces were still red. Tsunade and Kushina were simply happy, holding the token and kissing fiercely without any too much emotion. But Uchiha Fugaku was different. He burst into tears and almost burst into tears. Uchiha, for the first time, received fair treatment, received the honor he deserved, and was able to accept everyone's cheers. It's not like before, forget it, just don't say it in the past. Chapter 053. After being awarded the title of Medical Master of the 7 Ninja sect under the king, Tsunade began to give birth to a child. After the eldest son Uehara Masaki, the second daughter Senju, and the third son Senju Shiraun, they also gave birth to 4 sons, Ryumi Uehara, and 5 daughters, Naomi Uehara, and not long ago, they were successfully pregnant with their 6th child. For the war-torn ninja world, it is definitely a blessing to have many children. At the end of the video, there is a set of photos, one by one emerging, frozen, and then transformed. The first one is Sannin's compilation album. The white-haired boy Jiraiya who laughed with an arrogant face, the gentle Orochimaru who had a completely different temperament from before, and the pregnant Tsunade who was holding a red piglet. It is worth noting that their psychic beast also appears. There was a small toad lying on Jiraiya's head, a white Katsu hung on Tsunade's shoulders, and Orochimaru's snake snaked up from his sleeves. The three of them stood in front of the portrait of Shimei Uehara in the Hokage, with smiles on their faces. The second picture is a group photo of the 7 ninja clan under the king. Tsunade, along with Kakashi, Shisui, Kai, Minato, Kushina, and Naruto, wore the Grandmaster uniforms designed by Shimei Uehara and stood in front of the teaching building with the characters Konoha Advanced Ninja School written on it. Amidst the solemnity, there was an indescribable feeling of pride. The third picture shows hundreds of medical ninjas from the medical department. Tsunade is standing in the center position C with a proud face. The fourth picture is in a huge auditorium. Tsunade, Minato, Obito, Orochimaru, Yakushi Kabuto, and others stood on the high platform. Everyone has a garland of flowers hanging around their neck, holding a crystal-polished trophy in their left hand, holding it high above their heads, and holding the certificate of honor in their right hand. Below, hundreds of jonin and representatives from various industries and departments were applauding. In the fifth picture, Tsunade witnessed Naoki's marriage, watching Naoki kneeling on one knee and putting a ring on his wife's hand. There was a look of emotion and relief on his face. In the sixth picture, Tsunade looked with shock on her face as a small green sapling full of life sprang up from the palm of Senju. Even the surrounding flowers and plants seemed to be stimulated and grew crazily. In the seventh picture, Shimei Uehara was lying on a lawn, his head resting on his hands, his face full of contentment. Beside her, Tsunade was lying on her side, curling up her legs and resting her head on her husband's armpit. The eighth picture, the ninth one, the 10th picture, the last one, Tsunade and Uehara Shimei stood on the outermost sides on both sides, and in the middle was the energetic and flamboyant Uehara Maki. In Maki's arms, Naomi, who has a pair of innocent eyes and seems to be very curious about the things in front of her. Senju cuddled up against her mother, while Bayun and Ryumi stood between Uehara Shimei and Uehara Maki. At the edge of the screen besides the 7 people, there is a head. It seemed as if someone had suddenly sneaked in at the moment the camera was turned on, with his mouth wide open, his tongue sticking out, and his face full of funny expressions. But it was Tsunade's younger brother, Senju. This is clearly a family portrait. The 8 people standing together looked so happy, so warm and joyful. End of Senju-Tsunade comparison. When the 8 shining golden fonts covered the last family photo, and finally disappeared together with all the pictures, the barrage came again like a tidal wave. Original Jiraiya, undead, this is so happy. It's a perfect life. The only pity is that the hero is not me. Original Hataki Sakumo, undead, except for her career. Tsunade has completely transcended our world. She is truly fulfilled. Original Shizen Kato. The younger brother who was supposed to die got married, gave birth to a bunch of children with his originally fruitless lover, gained the great honor of the 7 ninja sect, and was respected by thousands of his peers. Oh, by the way, there is also a village that I want to protect, which is getting better, stronger, and more peaceful. This is what Tsunade-sama dreams of most, right? Ninja World Senju Buddha Room, Dead Soul, the second daughter and third son have the last name Senju. That's good. Uehara, you are a conscientious and responsible man. Original Senju Hashirama, undead, this is what Konoha looks like in my dreams, and this is the peace I want to create. It's really good. Ninja World Senju Hashirama, undead, proud of you, Tsunade-chan. Ninja World Senju Tobarama, undead, sentimental but not unjust. I recognize you both as a Hokage and as a husband. And Tsunade, I wish you happiness. Both Tsunades wish you happiness and eternal happiness. Original Rope Tree, undead, sister, no matter what happens, no matter how sad you are, you must always look forward and keep moving forward firmly and happily. Let the deceased not worry too much and feel guilty about the pain caused by his death to the living. This is also the responsibility and obligation of the living. Sister, you must be as happy as the other you. This is my only wish. Don't be surpassed by your other self, sister. You will promise that I will do it, right? Ninja World Senju Rope Tree, sister from another world. Although you may not be the sister I know, my sister's feelings for her brother and my brother's feelings for my sister are the same. I hope you can come out bravely, stand up, respond with happiness and joy to those who try to plot against you, and tell them that you will always be the unbeatable Tsunadeheim. Countless people were speaking to bless Tsunade, especially in the primitive ninja world. Many who have interacted with Tsunade and know or respect this great medical master cannot help but reveal their true feelings. Looking at these comments, the other Tsunade herself couldn't help but burst into tears. Countless grievances and pains in the past seemed to completely dissipate in this moment. There is something in my heart that can fill the emptiness, something that can support courage and perseverance, a goal to fight for, and new hope. After crying for only 2 seconds, she suddenly wiped away all her tears. His expression became determined and cold. Because, among the barrages full of blessings and touches, there are also some alternative barrages like this. Original Senju Tobarama, Undead, Tsunade, just do what you have to do boldly. Get rid of your baggage and travel lightly. It will be a good thing for you in Konoha. Don't worry, learn from Shimei Uehara. If you can't influence people with love, use your fists to save them. Hands stained with blood may not be used to love and protect. Original Orochimaru. Tsunade, be careful. Danzo has been transplanted with first-generation target cells and more than 10 Sharingan. One of them is Shursue's Mangekyo. Can use with style, and the Uchiha clan's forbidden blood inheritance technique is Anaji. Chapter 054. Uehara Kuin. The sky above Konoha in the ninja world. After seeing all the videos on the scroll end, Tsunade herself shed tears and felt sad. She couldn't imagine that without Uehara Shimei, without everything this guy had done, if it were like another world, disciples, lovers, comrades in arms, subordinates, and even family members were plotted and assassinated one by one, and the conspirator was still a teacher whom he respected in the past. What will happen to me? Can I survive? That grief, that miserable situation, that heart-wrenching feeling that destroys all faith. Just thinking about it, there was a strong shudder deep in my heart, as if there was some great terror. She has never been a great lover like her grandfather, nor does she have the determination, wisdom, and courage of second generation. Brother, family, teammates, lover, this is the softest place in my heart. He looks carefree and heroic, but the direction given by love and emotion has always been selfish, and his family is always ranked first. No, it can't be said to be selfish. I just saw too many heroes who did not hesitate to sacrifice themselves or even their families for the so-called dreams, great love, villages, beliefs, etc. So I couldn't be that great. There is nothing wrong or blameworthy in the slightest. She admired people like first generation and second generation, but because she had seen them pay the price with her own eyes, she completely refused to become that person. Tsunade wrapped her arms tightly around Uehara Shimei's waist and pressed her cheek tightly against the back of her lover's head. There was a sound of sobbing, and big tears fell down drop by drop. There has never been a moment when she was so obsessed with the deep smell and majestic body of the person in front of her. I am infatuated with his domineering and gentleness, infatuated with his good and also infatuated with his bad, obsessed with everything about him. Even things that would normally make him very unhappy, such as always unabashedly expressing his admiration for other women, now become inexplicably cute. Everyone has flaws, and there is no such thing as a perfect saint. Even if such a character really exists, just like in the First Generation project, he might choose to dedicate everything to the big love and completely sacrifice the little love. That is the sacred image of all mankind and all the ninja world, but it is the only one that will not be relied upon by Tsunade. This is good now. Compared to the disgusting Third Generation project, lust is nothing at all, right? Moreover, for men, what's wrong with liking beautiful women? He just shows his true feelings and doesn't pretend like other hypocrites. Is there a problem with this? Not only Tsunade, when I saw the original ninja world, decades have passed, and not only has Konoha remained unchanged and lifeless, but its strength has also weakened to such an extent. The entire current ninja world of Konoha, and even many ninjas from other ninja villages, can't help but think of Uehara Shimei's good deeds. I couldn't help but sigh at the lofty ideals and far-sightedness of Uehara Shimei's policies. Shimei Uehara almost completely pushed Konoha to rebuild it. Not only the buildings and village layout, but also the political system, top-level structure, operation methods, ninja thinking, etc. And when Konoha changes, as the weather vane of the ninja world, other ninja villages will follow suit. Among them, a certain shameless rakeage is the most active. Other villages will wait for results to be achieved before deciding whether to follow suit or not. He doesn't care about anything, he just imitates without saying a word. No matter good or bad, no matter the specific reasons, I have to do what Konoha has done. At this moment, the first comparison video has ended. After a lively exchange of comments, In almost every ninja village, including many small ninja villages, everyone already has a considerable understanding of themselves and the villages in another world. Comparing the two, facing this fact that is completely louder than words, everyone instantly became a king of understanding. After a while, he pointed out the country and scolded Fang Qiu. Ah, I understand. The fourth generation project was actually 4. The fourth generation project is so great. I know this. Master Hokage had long expected that XX would happen, so he did XXXX. Now that I think about it, it's really Mr. Hokage who is not as perceptive as usual. Shocked, Uehara Shimei XXX is actually 4. In tears, Master Hokage. In fact, you don't know something? It seems that today, I have to reveal the secret that I have hidden for many years. Sentences like this appear endlessly throughout the ninja world, and even on the picture scroll where the video has disappeared. Not to mention that most things were not Uehara Shimei's fault in the first place. Even if it was really his fault, these people would still find ways to make things right for him. At this moment, their brain circuits were unexpectedly extremely strange. Their inspirations were overwhelming, and their angles were tricky. And among all these people, only Jiraiya felt the deepest. God knows how painful it would be for me to accept a disciple like Uehara Shimei. I doubt my life every day. It's not that he's a genius or something like that, it's just that this guy is too lawless. Forget about being lawless. The key is to use his banner every time, and then throw all the follow-up to him and let him wipe his asterisk. He is completely indifferent in the face of criticism and responsibilities, but refuses to repent. If you ask, that means the child of destiny is different from ordinary people. If you ask again, then now is the great choice prophesied by the great Toad Sage. The major choice that determines whether the future of the ninja world will be toward stability or destruction. Jiraiya, it's time for you to make a choice. Fighting against Danzo for Kushina is a major decision. Killing Uchiha and snatching Mikoto is a major decision. Killing third-generation superior Hokage is a major decision. Anyway, it is absolutely impossible for me to repent or bow my head and look back at all. It's up to you to decide. Damn it, for this one thing, I will be eaten by this de Uehara, shimming for the rest of my life. As a result, he always doubted life and was miserable. And now, looking at Konoha and the ninja world that were completely different from the past, Jiraiya could not help but shed bitter tears. Finally the efforts were not in vain. Well, it doesn't seem like the problem is big now. How about we withdraw? Mid-air, seeing Tsunade suddenly hugging Uehara Shimei, Kakashi turned his head and looked at Obito with meaningful eyes. Obito didn't say anything, and there was a spiral of space fluctuations around him. The next moment, everyone else, including himself, disappeared completely. Under the moonlight, Tsunade hugged Shimei Uehara tightly with a happy face. Uehara Shimei also knew how complicated Tsunade's mood was at this moment, and did not do anything to disgrace the scenery. He just took out a jade flute polished with the finest jade from his arms and started playing it gently. In his past life and this life, our Uehara-kun is also versatile now. The beautiful flute sound and melodious rhythm spread little by little in my ears, sometimes high and sometimes low. Sometimes it is gentle and elegant, quiet and distant, like a gurgling stream. Sometimes it is gentle and crisp, singing softly, like the bright moonlight. It's really fascinating. I unconsciously fell into a beautiful dream and didn't want to wake up. Tsunade's heart also fluttered. How about you go to my place tonight? Don't make trouble, you are pregnant. Don't act nonsense at this time. Don't you have other tricks? Is this good? Feeling the two majestic Mount Fuji behind him, Shimei Uehara decisively abandoned Mikoto, and a flying thunder god returned to Konoha. Chapter 055. Original Ninja World. Tsunade looked at the second grandfather's approval on the barrage and the reminder from her former teammates. His originally cold eyes suddenly became more sad and angry. With style, Sharingan, Izanagi haha, it looks like I have some fun with it. With a wave of her hand, she directly ordered several jonin who were originally under the advisor's command to take the lead in breaking through the defense of the root base. The elders of Konoha are different from all other ninja villages. The consultant of Yanin Village and Yanin Village is actually equivalent to the role of Kage's advisor and assistant. Helping in complete some tasks that he is not good at or inconvenient to do, has limited real power. The Hidden Mist Village is divided into 2 camps. The Elder exists as the leader of the Blood Successor family camp, which is also the root of the Blood Mist. In Sand Hidden Village, Kazakage's death has been too hasty in the past, and the consultant has to be forced to take on the responsibility of the shadow every once in a while. Konoha's system is similar to feudal lords. The vassals of vassals are not your vassals. The root is the most special, but it is not a special case. In fact, each one has its own private armed forces, departments in charge, and scope of power. Hokage himself directly reports to Umbu, the Ministry of Education, and the Jonin class. Among them, Umbu includes the Intelligence Department, Interrogation Department, Analysis class, Tracking class, Perception class, Code class, etc. The outside world generally thinks that Umbu is actually just Umbu's combat department, the mission squad. After third generation spared no efforts, the power of Yamato's structure in this department was so complex that it even exceeded the sum of other consultants. In the original work, in order to suppress Hatake Tsukumo, Hiruzen Sarutobi would not allow him to continue to perform meritorious deeds, or he could hide his meritorious deeds reasonably and legally so that they would not be known to outsiders. He had no choice but to appoint him as Captain Umbu and turned him into darkness. And Umbu's power is too great. In a sense, it can be said that it is related to Ying's wealth and life. Not to mention, from time to time, you have to carry out private things that the filmmaker cannot say to the outside world, such as spreading public opinion, creating conspiracies, assassinating someone, etc. If it is controlled by an outsider, even if it is just the leader of the task force, there will be a lot of inconvenience. Therefore, 5 years after the end of World War II, Hatake Tsukumo's reputation was almost silent. In addition, the signs of the three wars have become more and more intense. Seeing that this sharp blade is about to release an astonishing bright light again, that's why he decisively took action. Some people say that Hatake Tsukumo simply had a poor mentality, while others analyzed it and said that it was because his faith collapsed and his fiery will to believe in fire was betrayed in the end. He chose to commit suicide out of despair. But according to Uehara Shimei's actual observation, for F4, at that time, Hatake Tsukumo had reached the point where he had to die. Suicide can save Kakashi at least, but if he doesn't commit suicide, no one can kill him, and the final result will only be a new Orochimaru. He defected and all his cronies were dealt with. Because this kind of strong person who truly has great faith and is willing to practice it has an amazing appeal to the people around him. This is especially true for ninjas who are in darkness and yearn for light. At that time, more than half of the Umbu directly under the Hokage were attracted by Hatake Tsukumo. You know, Umbu has almost become a private member of the Sarutobi clan. If he doesn't die, who will die? And not only will he die in the most humiliating and ironic way. In addition to Umbu, the Ministry of Education and the Jonin class, for the rest, Mito Monahan is in charge of the administrative department and the liaison between the ninja village and the daimyo, while Koharu is in charge of the medical department and the logistics department. There are others, such as the police department, which is privately owned by Uchiha, the seal class, and the barriers class, which were originally owned by Lady Sarutobi Bawako of the third generation, but were later taken over by a Sarutobi Jonin. This weird system makes it difficult for even the new Hokage Ninetales to take power at once, unless you can first develop your own direct lineage strength. For example, the original 4th generation Meiha Feng Shueimon, after becoming the Hokage, the only one he could command was his newly formed Umbu class, the Kakashi class, and the 3 people who are the shadow guards are Shiranui Ganma, Temeshii Reidu, and Iwaki. Another example is that after 7th generation took over, the remaining 2 people in F4 still hold the power and dictate every day. They have no choice but to do so. This is the drawback of the enfeoffment system. As for those who can really develop the power of direct lineage, just look at the fate of Hatake Tsukumo and Orochimaru. Konoha Village does not allow such awesome people to exist. Now, 5th generation Tsunade is facing the same problem. If she wants to command a certain ninja, she must first obtain the consent of the boss of the corresponding department. Originally, she wanted to rely on Shizune and her reputation as a medical expert, slowly infiltrate the medical department, and gradually replace Umbu, using traditional methods to take charge. But now, after watching the comparison video, she decided to change her approach. Tsunade's cold eyes stared intently at the Jonin who were sent by advisors to monitor her. With both fists clenched, the strong chakra exudes an extremely dangerous aura, which will definitely make you try the powerful stance of the strange power fist. And Kakashi also pulled out a short sword that looked like white Fang from behind. Blue thunder and lightning jumped on it, making a piercing cry. He also decided not to pretend anymore and showed his cards. However, at this moment, a large group of people suddenly arrived outside. The main forces of the Hyuga and Inokachi clans, and even some ninjas from the Sarutobi clan came to offer their loyalty. The two F4S, Mito Kadini, moved to Koharu, but finally arrived belatedly. He couldn't help but didn't dare to show off his face at all, and even put on the same expression as Tsunade towards the root base, and began to show his political correctness. After watching the comparison video, especially after seeing Shimei Uehara's style in it, they felt a little uncomfortable inside. What if Tsunade wants to follow suit? Even if Tsunade doesn't follow suit, Kakashi's attitude is already clear. The two of them know their own strength and will never be rivals. Therefore, at this time, I can only choose to feel sorry for Danzo and sorry for the roots. Azong, to Anchuan, if you die, I will send you flowers and burn paper. Just leave quickly and don't make any trouble, especially don't take us with you. The real master came, and Tsunade did not continue to bully those jonin. He asked the two consultants with a bad look, "What are you doing here?" I thought about it carefully and felt that I am too old and energetic, and it is no longer appropriate to continue to be in charge of the two major departments. So I would like to recommend Kato Shizen as the Minister of Medical Affairs. I am also willing to hand over the administrative department to Kakashi, who will only be responsible for contacting the daimyo and the capital. Seeing the two of them cowering, I was instantly startled by what I said. Tsunade wanted to laugh, but it's not like getting a cheap and happy smile, or the elation of finally being able to control the actual full power, etc., but a burst of sarcastic laughter. Sure enough, Shimei Uehara's approach was correct. When you are weak or have scruples, others will not understand your hard work and difficulties at all. They will only make it worse and make trouble for you. But if you kill decisively and kill anyone who is upset, they will start to be careful. Think about what you think. Think about what you think. Considerate, reliable, and obedient to the point of being ridiculous. Thinking of the series of grievances she had suffered before, she just wanted to give herself a slap. So F************* G stupid. The majestic Hokage, a majestic shadow-level powerhouse, could actually let these two old guys bully him for so long. If Uehara Shimei knew about it, he would probably laugh to death. Chapter 056. Koharu and Imi Mitokado thought they had made the biggest concession. Especially Mitaman Yin, the administrative department seems inconspicuous, but in reality, apart from the several departments directly managed by the Hokage and the theoretical police department, it is the most powerful and lucrative department. Even in the department headed by the Hokage, the Ministry of Education actually only has a special role, which is to instill the will of fire in the next generation. The scope of its arbitrary actions is very limited. The Jonin class is the strongest force in the ninja village and must be controlled by the Hokage. But precisely because this force is too strong and too important, there is not much room for maneuver. Sometimes it's just a name. No matter if it is the Hokage, the advisor, or anyone else, they cannot allow all the Jonin to unite together. In that case, the power of the top leaders will be challenged. As for the police department, he could only say haha. In theory, the police department is indeed extremely powerful, almost the second Umbu. No, it is even more exaggerated than Umbu. But all this is only in theory. Whether it is maintaining the security and stability within the village, or being responsible for formulating corresponding rules and laws, as well as arresting, interrogating, and detaining people and ninjas with criminal tendencies, all these functions have been usurped by Umbu and the Ministry of Civil Service. The only things the police department can actually be responsible for are probably punishing vendors who violate business regulations, arresting and interrogating petty thieves, drunken ninjas, and the like. It would be more appropriate to describe it as urban management. In the entire Konoha, the only ones with the most actual power are Umbu and the administrative department. But Umbu is more inclined towards ninja-related matters. Champage and killing, stabbing intelligence, protecting politics, and making conspiracy or next means. The Ministry of Government Affairs is in charge of economic power, tax collection, business dealings, real estate and land, and even the issuance of ordinary and low-level tasks. There is huge profit to be made in each of these. It is precisely because the power of the Ministry of Government Affairs is too great, for balance, his other duty was so insignificant. Being in charge of liaison and communication with the daimyo seems to be equally important, but the power is incomparable to theirs. To put it bluntly, it is just a mouthpiece. The daimyo and the Hokage are the twin jewels of the Land of Fire. Do I have the right to comment on or change their decision? Handing over the Ministry of Government Affairs is no longer just cutting flesh, it is simply cutting off a limb to survive. The same is true for Koharu. The logistics department only has room to play in wartime. Although the medical department's various scientific research investments are not as large as the administrative department's room for operation, they should never be underestimated. However, they think that the price they paid is high enough. Moreover, who wouldn't be jealous when two such large pieces of fat were thrown out? The distribution of benefits is not such a simple matter. With all the competition, Konoha will be in chaos for a while, right? With this period of buffer time, the negative impact on me must have been reduced to a certain extent. This method has been used many times in the past, and it was very effective every time. It's a pity that there is probably no hope of getting back the things that were given away this time. The two of them were calculating in their minds, but they never expected that instead of seeing the so-called sincerity in this action, Tsunade clearly saw the weakness of the so-called advisor. We'll talk about your business later. Let's deal with Danzo first. Tsunade looked at the two of them deeply. Regarding their statements and concessions, there was neither a yes nor a no. She has decided not to be weak, but after all, she is not Uehara-siming and cannot be so thorough. Whether or not to kill them all depends on their future performance. At this moment, the defense barriers of the root base were finally successfully breached. After receiving the inheritance of the Senju clan, Uzumaki Mido, and the Kushina couple, Sarutobi Hiruzen with the huge amount of resources accumulated, several pretty good ninjas with sealing techniques expertise were cultivated in the family. As the outer defenses of the root base were breached, the scene inside was soon revealed to everyone. Almost instantly, everyone who saw this scene, including Koharu and Mitaminen, they all opened their eyes wide, their eyes filled with shock and horror. A huge and almost bottomless underground space. In the middle are winding passages that look like air bridges, crisscrossing among them, connecting countless caves in all directions. But this is not the point. What really makes everyone stunned is that, in the center of the top cross-shaped passage, Shimura Danzo has led a group of root ninjas to wait there, and they have all entered a fighting posture. Among them, Danzo removed the bandages that were wrapped around his body in the past. The arm with the first generation's head on it was revealed, as well as the monster Sharingan still rotating on it. Everyone can see the barrage, and Gwarying is no exception, so he has expected this scene and is prepared. Danzo, watch this osmotic scene. The overwhelming anger instantly erupted from the hearts of Tsunade, Kakashi, and other Konoha ninjas. Desecrating the first Hokage and robbing the family's bloodline are both unforgivable. Without any hesitation, Tsunade unlocked the Ein seal and activated the art of creation and regeneration. He rushed over directly, and in the middle was a painful kick in full swing. The frighteningly strong and high-quality chakra erupted from the small and delicate white feet that were painted with red nail polish and looked very naughty. It's like a storm, a terrible storm that wants to destroy everything. The power of the full-strength Pain-Tion kick is naturally very impressive. At the shadow level, it can almost kick a child if it hits it. Well, even if they are both film-level hits, it won't feel good. But how could Danzo, who had already planned and made adequate preparations, let her get her wish so easily? Tsunade's Pain-Tion foot fell into the air, as if passing through an illusion. Everything suddenly disappeared, and only a section of the passage collapsed. And almost at the same time that barriers broke through from the outside, a small sealed barrier hidden under the shadow of the passage was quietly opened, and the real root ninja was hiding here. Tsunade kicked out from the outside in, and the hundreds of figures hiding here also rushed out from the inside out. Hundreds of people scattered in all directions, attacking in all directions. And everyone already has a fixed target selected in advance. It is still the kind of suicide attack that completely disregards life and death. In an instant, it caused huge trouble to the Konoha ninjas on the periphery, especially the two consultants and the Sarutobi ninjas who came to support, not to mention that Kakashi and others are extremely vigilant. After experiencing hundreds of battles, their hard power and combat experience are definitely the best. They are no less cruel than their roots. They can't do that. They rely on sparring between their companions, and they can't imagine the cruelty of a real duel between ninjas. There is no temptation, no tricks, no holding back. Life and death can be decided in an instant. This is the ninja, this is the root ninja. Especially Danzo, the old boy, chose to pinch the weak persimmons from the beginning and use them as a breakthrough. In just a few moments, heavy losses were incurred. And seeing that a gap was broken out of the encirclement formation outside, and the tactical completion was more perfect than expected, Danzo was also overjoyed. Although the strength of the roots is strong, it is still too far-fetched to fight against the entire Konoha. Therefore, his goal from the beginning was not to defeat, but to escape. Danzo saw the opportunity and rushed towards the gap without hesitation with several of his close men. What kind of look is this? Are you laughing at my weakness? While escaping, Danzo did not forget to pay attention to other people, especially those elite jonin who could pose a threat to him. Seeing in all directions and hearing in all directions are the basic skills of a ninja. He glanced at Tsunade first, and he rushed too hard. After the air channel collapsed, there was no point of leverage, and it was difficult to turn back in a short time. Then he looked at Kakashi. I saw that Kakashi easily dodged the suicide attacks of 2 root ninjas who were specifically targeting him. On the other side, he looked at himself who was running away with a face full of ridicule and disdain. Danzo's heart suddenly thumped. Kakashi was no ordinary ninja, in terms of strength or other aspects. He quickly calculated in his mind, generally speaking, when the defensive formation has been broken and the key ninjas are being marked and involved, it is still very difficult to stop a shadow-level strongman who wants to run away. Could it be that Tsunade arranged some conspiracy behind it? Danzo was thinking when he heard a loud shout, suddenly coming from not far ahead. Grandmolly, knock on the door and open it. 8 gates of chakra pathway. 7th gate. Gate of wonder. Open. Chapter 057. To be able to survive from Konoha surrounded by wolves until now, after experiencing a series of events such as his father's suicide, the death of the 4th generation, the assassination of the Hokage, the 3rd ninja war that almost brought Konoha to its knees, and Orochimaru's plan to collapse Konoha, etc., it can also hide and preserve its own strength to the greatest extent. Even later, he became a Hokage and developed Konoha into a prosperous age. Kakashi's resourcefulness cannot be underestimated. If he thinks carefully and judges his choices at every critical node and important moment, you will be surprised to find that everything is completely in line with your own interests. And it is difficult for outsiders to notice that something is wrong. Everything seems so reasonable, so silky and indulgent, so flawless and watertight. To give a very simple example, original work on the eve of the 3rd Chunin exam, the 3 disciples all urgently needed to quickly increase their strength in a short period of time. He chose to teach Uchiha Sasuke, whom he had little connection with, but left Naruto, the son of his teacher and his master's wife, to Ebisu, Konohamaru's tutor. Some people say that Kakashi is ungrateful based on this, but this is precisely where his wisdom lies. Why does it have to be Ebisu? Are there any similarities between him and Naruto in their training paths and tactical systems? Not really. Do you have any special connection with Naruto? Or do you think highly of Naruto? Neither. If it must be said that it is because Naruto lacks basic skills and needs to be strengthened, then any Chunin can do the job, right? After all, Ebisu only taught Naruto to tread water in the end. The answer is very simple. Hiruzen Sarutobi hopes that the only one who has Bai Yuegwang in Naruto's heart is him. A pure direct descendant like Konohamaru who has high hopes for him would also be happy to see him make friends with a super potential stock like Naruto who is destined to become a top powerhouse in the future. In fact, this is where the series of intersections between Konohamaru and Naruto began. Not only did he eventually become Naruto's disciple, he was also considered a popular candidate for the 8th generation. If it were just this one thing, it might be a coincidence. Or some people may overestimate or interpret things with bad intentions. But there are too many similar things about him, and when they are put together, it is far beyond what can be explained by the word coincidence. Especially when Hiruzen Sarutobi was attacked by Orochimaru and Guy prepared to rescue him. The reason for his obstruction was that the 3rd generation object is the strongest Hokage, and he almost failed to dodge a lot of Hokage fans at first. I have to say, Kakashi knows a good joke. The strongest? Haha. Among the 5 shadows of his generation, there are very few who can be bullied. The 3rd generation has the magnet style. The 3rd generation has the dust style. The 4th generation water can copy the opponent and is still a perfect Jinchuriki. The 3rd generation thunder is known as the strongest spear and the strongest shield. The 4th generation thunder can compete with Minato for speed. Not to mention 1st generation, 2nd generation, a once-in-a-century monster like that, which is not on the same level as an ordinary shadow level. The person who said such words was as shameless as Shimei Uehara. However, letting Hiruzen Sarutobi, who always spoke of the will of fire, die at the last moment due to betrayal and separation from his relatives, can be regarded as a bit of a death worthy. Kakashi can fool even Sarutobi Hiruzen into not being able to find him. And Danzo couldn't even defeat Sarutobi Hiruzen. He was almost crushed to death. Not only did he not have any chance or possibility to get ahead, he was also trapped in a Hokage position for his whole life. He was mostly used as a gun in the hands of others and took the blame for countless things. What's more, Kakashi once worked for the Roots and was once used as a confidant by Danzo, so he knew his style very well. It can be said that as soon as Danzo sticks his butt out, Kakashi knows what he is going to do. A brilliant prediction that takes every detail into account? It doesn't exist. These are all basic operations. Don't be silly. Might Guy didn't think too much about it. He just did whatever Kakashi told him to do. When he saw Danzo appear in his direction as expected, with a loud roar, the vast blue steam instantly covered his entire body. 8 gates of chakra pathway. The first 2 gates remove the brain area restrictions and physical fatigue restrictions respectively. You can exert 100% of your physical abilities, overload your body's energy to restore your physical strength, and increase your attack and speed accordingly. Starting from the 3rd door, each door you open can further release your body's potential. Based on the previous method, the strength and speed are greatly improved by doubling. What's even more terrifying is that in order to successfully open the next door, the physical strength required to withstand this explosion will be correspondingly higher. In other words, not only are the strength and speed multiplied, but they are multiplied on a stronger basis. During the Chunin exam, the 4-door Lee already had a speed that surpassed the Jonin, and even Gaara's sand couldn't catch up. As the last gate before the Gate of Death, the Gate of Wonder has almost developed its physical potential to the extreme. The speed and strength are beyond the imagination of many ordinary ninjas. Even Danzo. The moment 8 gates was activated, Might Guy had already stepped on the ground and exploded it. It literally means fried. The terrifying speed, coupled with the equally terrifying power, was so terrifying that he completely disappeared. The ground beneath his feet then reacted and shattered, splashing in all directions. The people around could only barely perceive an afterimage, and behind the afterimage, the ground was constantly exploding every few meters or tens of meters. It was as if an extremely swift gust of wind suddenly blew past, and no human figure could be seen at all. Danzo was able to react, and his instinctive fighting awareness made him dodge to the side. But unfortunately, speed is everything, and when he was slower than Might Guy, everything was doomed. Almost the next moment, a flying kick hit him directly in the chin. Power Prelude, one of the few moves of Kai that does not have the word Konoha as a prelude. Danzo turned into a faster afterimage and smashed into the place where he just came out like a cannonball. It completely smashed through a section of the aerial passage, and then knocked a big hole in the mountain wall behind it, and was deeply embedded in it. Danzo only felt a sharp pain coming from all over his body, almost making him fall into a coma. Especially the injury to the chin. That kick completely shattered half of his face. The impact on his back was no less severe, with multiple fractures. This was the result of his full-scale defense, but Might Guy was aiming at the neck. And this is not over yet. Danzo was kicked very fast, but Guy's speed was no match. Almost following Danzo's figure, he jumped up and spun in the air. He kicked Danzo hard in the chest while he was already embedded in the mountain wall. Konoha Gurumi Cyclone. This kick was powerful, and after a roundhouse kick, the hole that Tuanzong had created by crashing into the mountain wall became 3 or 4 times deeper. Originally, it was only 2 meters deep. After all, the passage in the air had relieved some of the impact. But this time it was completely born, and it was attacked from both sides. It was dug to a depth of 7 or 8 meters, turning into an open cave. Danzo's chest was completely shattered, and a large piece of it disappeared. Advertisement. Chapter 058. Most of the chest was completely shattered, but the side with the heart was still there. With such severe injuries, if it had been anyone else, they would have died long ago. However, Danzo had already activated his Anaji before. The broken body left in place seemed to have turned into an illusion, gradually becoming transparent and void until it completely disappeared. At the same time, a complete version of Danzo, with almost no damage, appeared behind Metkai. Even after being resurrected, Danzo still had deep fear in his eyes. Metkai's strength and speed have exceeded his knowledge of ninjas. It's not the recognition of Metkai as a ninja, but the recognition of what a ninja can achieve. In his consciousness, even if he is not the best in the ninja world, he is at least among the top few. How could someone make him unable to react, unable to perform a substitute technique or a teleportation technique? This is impossible. No, I can't fall here. I haven't become a Hokage yet. However, even though Danzo was horrified in his heart, he did not remain dumbfounded. Even though he had experienced many battles before, his ninja instinct allowed him to adjust quickly. He secretly calculated. I have with style, I have Sharingan, I have Mangekyo, I have distinguished heavenly gods, I have the almost incomprehensible Izanagi, and so many loyal subordinates who don't care about life and death. The advantage lies with me, so I may not be unable to make a comeback. Originally, I thought that the only threat to Konoha was Tsunade, and it was not surprising that the medical ninja was there. Now, there is just one more Metki. Physical skills are not on the table in the first place, let alone using forbidden moves. An attack of that level must be very costly. How many times can he perform it? As for Kakashi, without first-generation cells and with style, he dared to transplant Sharingan. His potential has been exhausted long ago. Raikiri can't even play a few times. Is it worthy of my dark ninja world Shimura Danzo's attention? Therefore, as long as Izanagi survives Metkai's explosion, and then seizes the opportunity to sneak attack Tsunade, today is a great day and a great opportunity for me to realize my dream and become a Hokage player. As for the slanders on the scroll and the dissatisfaction of the villagers, as long as you become a Hokage, you will have the power and kill a group of people ruthlessly. Who dares to say anything? His thoughts changed, and Danzo became confident again. With a puff of his cheeks, the pure wind escape chakra condensed rapidly in his mouth, forming a huge, fan-shaped vortex. Every wisp of wind carries an extremely sharp aura, as if it wants to tear everything apart. Let me tell you something, this guy's wind escape is really something. Combined with the psychic beast dream taper, it can even break through Susan's defense. It's a pity that no matter how powerful the technique is, it must be released first, and it must be successfully hit before it can be useful. The moment Danzo began to condense the wind-release chakra in his mouth, a green light, like a cannonball, passed over Danzo's position. Danzo's head is gone. My feet hurt. Tsunadeheim slowly fell to the ground and put away her white and tender feet that were hanging in the air. The delicate red nail polish on them was quite eye-catching. And when she kicked Danzo's head off, Tsunade showed no joy at all. His expression was stunned for a moment, then turned into extremely disgusting, and then secretly annoyed. I was shocked because it seemed too easy to kill Danzo. If it were either Jiraiya or Orochimaru here, they would never be knocked down so easily. Just getting a hit requires careful planning, and a successful hit may not necessarily cause much damage. But Danzo, well, his death was a bit hasty. As for disgust and annoyance, it was because of such a piece of rubbish that I had resisted him for so long. No wonder Shimei Uehara dared to kill the Hokage building at the age of 18. These people are really just a bunch of rubbish, and I have been worrying in vain. With such a level of waste, what impact would it have on Konoha if all of them died? Even if it does, it is a good influence. Tsunade was speechless as Danzo appeared again. After being killed twice in a row, he became obviously more cautious. Like an elite ninja who has experienced hundreds of battles, he quickly scanned the surroundings and grasped all the noteworthy top ninja positions. At the same time, the brain was running rapidly and quickly come up with strategies and plans one by one. How to avoid Tsunade, how to consume Metkai, how to empty Kakashi's weapon, etc. 1/100th of a second later, he decided to deal with Kakashi first. Kakashi's chakra is too small, so it can be easily targeted. As long as Kakashi is eliminated, Konoha will have one less strong person to pay attention to, which will make it easier to deal with Tsunade and Metkai. Danzo's cheeks puffed up again. This time he learned his lesson and did not use the powerful but long-lasting vacuum jade. Instead, it quickly fired out vacuum bullets, forcing Metkai and Tsunade to dodge. Then, cover the kunai with the remaining wind-release chakra to form a vacuum sword. At the same time, he activated the teleportation technique and slashed towards Kakashi fiercely. On a passage that had not yet collapsed, Kakashi saw Danzo rushing towards him, and the corners of his mouth under the mask could not help but tilt up slightly. As soon as his hands were put together, with just one seal, blue electric light condensed on his right hand. This is his signature ninjutsu Chidori. Danzo, who was charging forward, was overjoyed when he saw Kakashi's action. Very good, that's it. Consume all the chakra quickly. Jinbu's intelligence capabilities are even better than Umbu's. He naturally knew that with Kakashi's chakra capacity, he could only cast Raikiri 4 times a day. Although Chidori consumes less energy than Raikiri, there is a lower limit for A-level ninjutsu, no matter how small it is. It won't be long before Kakashi becomes so weak that he can't even stand up, just like he imagined. However, the joy on Danzo's face has just appeared, and it has not even been fully displayed. The Chidori in Kakashi's hand suddenly exploded with lightning, turning into a torrent and shooting from a distance, straight through his heart. The lightning was so fast that he couldn't even react. It's actually can actually E asterisk 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 E. Danzo was confused. According to the information, this move can only be used at close range, but it is very fast. So fast that without Sharingan's dynamic vision, he would be injured. If you can attack at medium and long range, there will be no such disadvantages at all. You can attack while standing still. Why do you need dynamic vision? Danzo didn't know. Kakashi's Raikiri can not only be shot out, but can even turn into an animal form. After being shot out and out of control, it can turn on its own, which is equivalent to having its own headlock. Just asking you if you were sexy? Chapter 59. Feeling the bursting thunder and lightning raging in his body, destroying all his internal organs, meridians, and even muscles and bones. The most critical heart even turned into a ball of coke, with countless blood vessels around it necrotic. Danzo couldn't help but get angry. The intense anger seemed to overturn the heavenly spirit cap, and his whole face turned red. 3 times, he has died 3 times. First, there's that Metkai, who insists on activating the forbidden technique at the cost of his life. Is he so hated by others? Then he was sneak attacked by Tsunade. Then Kakashi comes again and again. Do you really think you have no temper? Danzo did not rush to resurrect, but tried his best to maintain his vitality and asked in a fierce voice with an angry face, "Why don't you just die? Why? Why? So many people are dead. Why don't you die?" He was really angry at the moment. I have clearly planned everything. As long as I follow the plan, I can kill Tsunade, become a Hokage, and rule the ninja world. But unfortunately, these people were not cooperative at all. They insisted on going against themselves and ruining the originally perfect plan. However, no matter how angry Danzo was, Kakashi always had that indifferent and mocking expression on his face. Totally indifferent. After all, who cares about a dog barking before it dies? Kakashi's research on the changes in the properties of lightning style has reached an advanced level. Lightning is extremely destructive. Danzo only managed to curse a few words before he felt that there was very little vitality left in his body. I had no choice but to activate Izanagi again and resurrect. Just at this moment, as if they were waiting for this moment, a hearty laugh suddenly came from the crowd. An old man with gray hair but still wide and fat, looking unusually strong, jumped out and hit Kakashi hard in front. Ha ha ha, old man. I'm having fun with it. The art of supermagnification. The meat bomb chariot. Akamichi laughed loudly, and his body suddenly expanded, turning into a giant more than 10 meters tall. Oops. Seeing this familiar old man, Danzo's expression suddenly changed as he just appeared. No one knows better how powerful this low-key Hokage disciple is than him who has fought alongside him. In addition to a slight lack of speed, even Hiruzen has to avoid its edge in terms of pure attack power. Pig, deer, butterfly, pig, and deer all have control skills, and they are completely partial controls. Only butterfly has the ability to attack. If this is called a 2-to-1 lineup in the game or a single core output lineup, it shows the strength of the Akamichi family. Danzo just wanted to escape, but after the chakra was activated, he realized that he could no longer move. At some point, the shadow under his feet was connected with 5 or 6 black lines, which were the shadow binding techniques of the Nara clan. Damn it, Danzo cursed angrily, and then watched Akamichi take the wind's huge body into a ball and began to roll faster, until it crushes itself hard, crushing everything along the way to pieces. Danzo died again. I'm old after all. Seeing that Danzo was dead, Akamichi, who had plowed a deep trench into the ground, stopped accelerating. With a smile, he canceled the skill and returned to the burly fat man he was before. With such a small amount of activity, he didn't even lose half a cent. When Akamichi took the wind and crushed Danzo hard, no one noticed. Just at the edge of the crowd, there was an ordinary genin. He opened his eyes from sitting in meditation with excitement on his face, and there was an orange line on his eyelids. He quickly separated 2 shadow clone. Release chakra by yourself. A shadow clone controls the rotation, and a shadow clone adds the nature change of wind escape. When the sharp sound of cutting the air spread throughout the surroundings, a terrifying ninjutsu that looked like a 4-cornered windmill had already taken shape. Sage Art. Wind Release Spiral Shuriken. Naruto aimed at Danzo's newly appeared position and threw it with his raised right hand. The next moment, the 4-cornered windmill came out of his hand and flew towards Danzo. This time, Danzo finally succeeded in reacting. Chakra erupted under his feet, pushing the whole person to move a full 10 meters sideways. Although 10 meters is not long, you must know that this is a rush. It requires not only sharp reactions, but also advanced chakra scheduling and control and excellent attainments in the teleportation technique. The moving distance is not as far as possible. There are wolves around here, and there are enemies everywhere. If you don't pay attention, it will be like giving away food. It's not as simple as it seems. Danzo successfully dodged the wind-release spiral shuriken and even calculated the explosion range of this move according to the intelligence. But the next moment, just as Danzo's feet touched the ground, he felt countless steel needle-like wind escape chakra, piercing his body into a sieve. What was left under my feet was not an explosion trace with a radius of 10 meters. Instead, it was a huge pit that was 50 or 60 meters wide, and even the ground and soil were completely torn and cut into pieces. Not only was Danzo stunned, others in Konoha, even Kakashi and others who had seen this move before, were immediately shocked and stunned. Is this genin? It's called scary, right? It's so outrageous. After Naruto took action, many ninjas in Konoha who were somewhat confident in themselves began to try to take action against Danzo. And those who had already killed Danzo seemed to have some kind of unspoken tacit understanding, and did not take action again. He just kept a close eye on Danzo to prevent him from suddenly breaking out before he died and causing something else. This time, it is different from the battle with Uchiha Sasuke in the original work. There is only one enemy, plus 3 or 2 spectators, so there is a lot of room for avoidance, escape, or attack, and many tactics can be used. Faced with heavy siege and enemies on all sides, Danzo barely had time to use any decent skills, because no matter which way he faced, someone was going to attack him behind his back, carrying out a sneak attack without respecting martial ethics. Very soon, in addition to Metkai, Tsunade, Hatake Kakashi, Akamichi, and Uzumaki Naruto, he died 5 times in succession, kneeled down 10 times in a row. Seeing that there was only one Sharingan left, the most precious Mangekyo, Danzo finally calmed down. He just stood there with a blank expression, not hiding, looking like he was more sad than he was dead. He died 10 times, and he used almost all the tactics that his mind could think of. But without exception, they all ended in failure. Even the distinguished heavenly gods, who considered themselves the strongest trump card and were once extremely frightened, could not hold on until the release was successful. Looking at the excited Konoha ninjas around them, especially the 10 strong men who had completed the achievement of killing Danzo, forget about Tsunade, Tofu, and Kakashi, they are all elites with names after all. Guy used the forbidden technique that burns life, and he is also an excellent jonin. What's funny is that there's actually a genin mixed in. Genin, haha. Something finally awakened in Danzo's heart, and he muttered to himself somewhat sadly, "It turns out that I have always been a clown." Chapter 060. Danzo was breathing heavily, his grooved cheeks full of exhaustion. At this moment, he was in extremely miserable condition. I felt pain everywhere in my body, and my brain felt like it was exploding, and it was extremely confusing. Even the right arm covered with Sharingan was unable to suppress the power of Wood's style due to Sharingan's continuous blindness, so it went berserk and turned into a big tree. Although Izanagi claims to be able to turn all the things that are not good for him that happened within a period of time into non-happening, and only choose things that are good for him to turn into reality, but this kind of transformation and change still has limits and conditions. The first thing to bear the brunt is that the physical strength, mental energy, chakra, etc. that have been used cannot be restored. Not only is it impossible to recover, but activating Izanagi itself will also consume chakra violently, and experiencing the whole process of death over and over again. Feeling the severe pain of being crushed over and over again, the mental pressure is by no means ordinary. In this state, many abilities that can be used normally cannot be used. Insufficient chakra, reduced reaction speed, high mental stress, and fatigue, all of which can be fatal in battle. In objective terms, Izanagi, the ultimate genjutsu who was once considered unsolvable, whether it increased his combat power or limited his strength is still unclear. Old dog, it's over. Let's go to the underworld. Danzo tried to reflect on himself, but Tsunade did not tolerate him. Chakra exploded violently under his feet, and his body crushed the ground like a cannonball and flew into the air. Then the right hand was palmed like a knife, and the light green chakra was sprayed outward to form a sharp blade with a length of more than 1 meter. From top to bottom, Danzo was cut in half vertically. For the last blow, she decided to do it herself. The death of my brother, the death of my lover, the hatred of countless heroic souls, and the decline of the village. All of this needs an answer, an ending. Danzo's corpse is the best sacrifice. After the blow, Tsunade did not relax her vigilance. but instead signaled the ordinary ninjas around her to stay away. She knew that Danzo also had a Mangekyo. No one can predict what such people will do before death and in despair. Not long after, Danzo appeared again, however. This time, he did not try to escape or use various means to fight back like before. "I can't let you have my body." Danzo tore open his clothes, and the black sealing technique's runes that had been burned appeared on his chest. Countless black liquids sputtered out in all directions, and soon formed a huge black sphere, covering all matter within a radius of 20 meters. "Hiruzen, you are the leaf bathing in the sun, and I am the root hiding in the darkness. Since the leaf has withered, there is no need for the root that supports it to continue to exist. After all, I still didn't become a Hokage after all." After a sigh, Danzo himself, along with half of the passage from the root base, turned into nothingness, or was sealed into an unknown space. The shadow of the pot came to an end. Sad, deplorable, ridiculous. At this moment, the comparison video has long ended, but the barrage on the scroll is still active. The ninjas from the two worlds are still communicating enthusiastically. Almost anyone who is qualified to post barrage is in high spirits. Understand another world, understand another self, and even understand one's relatives and friends in another world. And just 15 minutes after today's comparison video ended, Hatake Kakashi, the #1 internet celebrity in the original ninja world, released a new barrage. Danzo is dead. In an instant, there were 2 worlds. Well, if you include the underworld, there should be 4 worlds. Countless ninjas became excited, and their already restless mood suddenly became even more excited. Especially in the original ninja world, almost everyone expressed joy at the death of the Dark Ninja. Original Senju Tobarama, undead Tsunade, you did a good job. Whether you are a ninja or a shadow of a village, you have to have enough awareness at some point. When the time comes to make a decision, there should be no hesitation. Original Senju Hashirama, undead, in order to protect the village and protect hope, even your companions must make choices. Original Uzumaki Nagato, undead, it's a pity that I couldn't avenge Yahiko with my own hands. Danzo, you really deserve to die. Original Sarutobi Hiruzen, undead, Danzo's determination and will to protect the village is still very firm. He can definitely be punished and perform meritorious service. Konoha is so weak. A shadow-level strongman is still very important. What if other ninja villages feel that the civil strife in Konoha is an opportunity and a ninja war breaks out? Original Hatake Kakashi. Does it turn out to be important? My father committed suicide, Lord Lung defected, Shursui was attacked by surprise, and Tsunade Jiraiya ran away. I thought it wasn't important. Original Inoki. Sarutobi Hiruzen, if you are still in power in Konoha, I will definitely launch an army to attack the Land of Fire and start a ninja war. After all, you are a war-fearing third-generation project, and you will definitely compensate me with a lot of supplies and benefits. Don't give me this pie in the sky for nothing. Original Chiyo, undead, same as above. Original 4th-generation Yayue AI. +1, Original Tsurumi Mei. Sarutobi Hiruzen, do you think everyone is you? We dare not offend Tsunade's temper easily. Moreover, if Danzo dies, I think Konoha will become more united and stronger instead of chaotic and weak. Original Chiyo, undead, same as above. Original 4th-generation Yayue AI. +1, Original Gaara. Sunagakure Village and Konoha are a friendly alliance. I believe that Konoha will become stronger and stronger under the leadership of Tsunadeheim, and Sunagakure Village will also advance and retreat together, sharing weal and woe. Primordial Vortex Kushina, undead. It's so funny, haha. The current ninja world. After Uehara Shimei returned to the village, he immediately lifted the first-level warning. It was just arranged to have 2 more teams of jonin from the police department on duty at night to prevent accidents. However, countless villagers and ordinary ninjas, after leaving the shelter, the first reaction was not to go home or continue the work that had been interrupted before, but to gather on the street and cheer the name of Shimei Uehara. Many things, they have long been accustomed to, and even take them for granted. But when I saw another Konoha in the comparison video, and after learning about myself in another world that is so miserable that it doesn't exist at all, many people feel endless joy, pride, and crazy admiration for this seemingly inconspicuous purpose of 4th generation. As for those prejudices in the past, go to hell. Killing innocents indiscriminately? That's clearly called decisive killing. Have you ever seen a ninja who doesn't kill people? Lustful? This is clearly a sign of fraternity and passion. He is trying to save those confused female ninjas. Didn't he see how miserable Tsunade Mikoto Kushina, and others in the original ninja world were? Don't do your job properly and ignore government affairs? Are you just knowing people well and delegating power boldly? And this is precisely the greatest thing about the fourth generation project. Unlike the people like Sarutobi Hiruzen, who package the fight for power and profit as exhaustion, which is really disgusting. Besides, Hokage-sama is already racking his brain just thinking about planning strategies. Does he still need to handle those mundane affairs personally? Dignified Hokage, remotely command the trap position on the front line to move 5 meters to the right. What does this sound like? Advertisement. Chapter 061. Not to mention ordinary people and ninjas, there are many top experts whose strength can no longer be compared with the original ones. They also worship Uehara Shimei. In fact, facts speak louder than words. This Konoha, no matter in any aspect, can easily push the original Konoha to the ground with a blaster. Especially the two wealthy families Uchiha and Hyuga, their fanatical belief has reached a level that almost makes rational people shudder. However, Uehara Shimei himself was quite proud. He is actually not interested in excessive personality worship, but since the person being worshipped is himself, he has no choice but to comply with public opinion. Especially, that night, after enjoying the most generous and completely bottomless crazy reception in history. Someone even less wants to prevent this situation. All I can say is Tsunade Jiraiya. Once he becomes enthusiastic, he can almost knock his bones and suck out his marrow. Only his strong body and strong bones can withstand the torture. If it had been someone else, he might have become immortal on the spot. Early the next morning, Uehara Shimei gently covered Tsunade, who was almost spoiled, with a quilt and asked her to have a good sleep. After washing himself, he dressed up and went to Mikoto's house for breakfast. Mikoto was released last night. Although Mikoto might not care much about it, as a veteran in love, he felt that he still needed to explain. Scum will be scum, but your attitude must be correct. Of course, there were no accidents. The kind-hearted Mikoto not only did not express any dissatisfaction with him for letting her go last night, but instead believed that comforting Tsunade at this time was the right and responsible thing to do. Uehara Shimei was very busy walking among the beauties. The emergence of the comparison video has caused huge changes in the mentality of countless people in the two ninja worlds. Some may be shocked, some may have their beliefs collapse, or some may suddenly wake up, or even start to have some thoughts that they shouldn't have. Naturally, her wives are not immune. After learning about what happened to me in another world, even if I just learned about it briefly from the barrage, my emotions were very complicated. At this time, as a sensible and considerate warm man, you must be around to provide guidance and guidance. Use solid chests, gentle embraces, and heartwarming words to resolve the grudges in their hearts and stabilize and deepen their feelings for each other. In the evening, when Shimei Uehara returned to the villa where Mikoto was, the scroll also lit up with bright golden light just in time. After yesterday's comparison and the impact and influence of the huge amount of information exposed in the video, almost everyone in the two ninja worlds is full of expectations for the new comparison video. Many people, as early as more than an hour ago, I had arranged other things and waited in front of the scroll. As for the barrage, as 6 o'clock approaches, it becomes visible to the naked eye that it becomes more active and exciting. Brush. When the golden light on the scroll finally appeared again, the countless spectators who were looking forward to it were instantly shocked and their eyes became extremely eager. Most people are simply excited. For them, it is just that the thing they are waiting for is finally about to begin, and there will be new melons to eat soon, which has no special meaning. But there are also some people who extremely hope that the target of comparison will be themselves. There are no ink marks on the scroll, and there are no open-screen advertisements or the like. A golden light directly reminded everyone to pay attention, and golden letters emerged. Today's comparison of characters, Ninja World Uchiha Mikoto vs. Original Uchiha Mikoto, 1 minute countdown 60:59. As soon as the letters appeared, everyone's emotions obviously increased. Ninja Uzumaki Kushina. Wow, it's Mikoto-san. It's Mikoto-san, that's great. Primordial Vortex Kushina. Undead. Sister Mikoto. Look, it's you. Ninja World Uchiha Itachi. I would like to see how the Uchiha in another world exterminated their clan. That be asterisk 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 D with the same name as me. Please listen to me. Secretly hoping that the two worlds cannot communicate with each other. What the hell? Starting from last night, everyone looked at me differently. Even Quan pretended to be casual and secretly tested me, and suspected that I was a perverted murderer with mental problems. I obviously haven't done anything. My only dream is to become the police minister, contribute to the village and Lord Hokage, and then have a wife who loves me and grow old together. Just because of you Cole, everything has changed. I swear to kill you. Only by killing you can I wash away my shame and stigma. I will chop you into pieces and scatter your bones into ashes. Shimei Uehara, I don't think you need to worry at all. Although I don't know how you did it in the original world, but if you only rely on the power of your current 3 Magatama, you may not even be able to break through the gates of Uchiha and the police department. I don't need Mangekyo to push you to the ground and rub you, let alone Shirsuei, the current head of the 7 Ninja Clan, and Fugaku, the former head of the 7 Ninja Clan. Obito, Yashiro, Taihua, and Mother, you can't beat any of them. No one thinks you have this ability at all, therefore, the so-called weird looks in other people's eyes are probably caused by your own psychological factors. Just like a child clamoring to destroy the world, there is absolutely no need to care. However, if I want to kill another Itachi, I am surprisingly interested. This world is so peaceful that it is difficult to find an opponent. I don't know what the meaning of practicing every day is. Ninja World Uchiha Itachi. Even if it is the truth, but when you say it so bluntly, how can you make me feel so embarrassed? After Sasuke's words, many Uchiha clan members suddenly stood up and began to comfort Itachi, including some who had a grudge against Itachi after the exchange yesterday. It turned out that they also wore colored glasses, but when Sasuke said this, everyone immediately reacted. I have 7 pairs of Uchiha. Who can destroy Mangekyo? What should I be afraid of? It's just a ferret. Let him try to jump around? If he dares to try, he will die. While several people were discussing, the countdown returned to 0 and the subtitles appeared again. Comparison starts, background introduction, original Uchiha Mikoto, the granddaughter of the former great elder of the Konoha Ninja Village Uchiha clan, the wife of Uchiha Fugaku, the last clan leader of Uchiha, and the mother of Uchiha Itachi, the Konoha S-level rebellious ninja, Magnanima Elite Jonin, born in Konoha in the 23rd year, died in Konoha in the 58th year, at the age of 35, compared to Tsunade's series of dazzling titles and deeds, Uchiha Mikoto's. Content is a bit brief. Apart from identity, there is almost only one valid information about Samagatama. After all, in this time and space, she is busy caring for her husband and raising children, and her experience is mediocre. Chapter 062. As the golden light of the letters gradually converged and dissipated, the scroll also began to play a video. In a spacious room with the Uchiha clan's standard flame fan pattern painted on it, there was a middle-aged man with several hideous scars crisscrossing his face, but his expression was completely inconsistent with his face. The man carefully held a white and cute-looking baby. A pair of eyes reflected full of serious light. The whole person is like a machine, slowly turning to one side steadily, and even the speed of rotation is constant. It's as if they are doing something extremely dangerous and terrifying, and if they don't pay attention, their lives will be lost. It took a long time before the man moved to a crib with great effort and gently put the child in his arms into it. And the moment his hands left the baby, the painting style suddenly changed. From being serious, calm, and serious just now, he suddenly became exaggerated and neurotic, like a second-rate joker. Ha ha ha, I have a daughter too. The man was jumping around the crib, laughing with his hands on his waist. Countless parents who watched this scene couldn't help but smile on their faces. Once upon a time, weren't they like this? In this world filled with wars, chaos and extreme helplessness, seeing a new life, seeing the inheritor of his own bloodline, his inner excitement was even worse than that of Mikoto's father. Because that is the sustenance of my heart, it is the hope that supports you to continue moving forward, and it is the existence that you must protect even if you risk your life. In the video, the baby grew up very quickly and turned into an extremely cute little girl. Wearing pigtails and throwing wooden shurikens in a decent manner, her expression was indeed very serious and her movements were formal, but the people watching around her, and even the audience outside the video, had an inexplicable urge to touch her head. Not long after, her mother fulfilled this wish on behalf of everyone else. Little Mikoto was put into his arms and his head was rubbed hard for a while. Mikoto was not angry, he just pursed his lips and his cheeks were slightly red, looking very embarrassed. This time, the audience suddenly became more excited. It's so cute. I simply must have a daughter series. The screen flashed again. Little Mikoto went to school. She does not have many celebrities in this period. The current heir of Inakacho will not enter school for another 3 years. The famous 4th-generation Fang Minami and his wife Kushina Uzumaki are 1 year later than Inakacho. There is only one person who attracts more attention than Mikoto, the granddaughter of the great elder Uchiha, and that is the grandson of the first Hokage, Naoki. This much talked about heir to the Senju clan is truly extraordinary. Not only does he have a cheerful personality, he is also a standard anime protagonist, often clamoring to become a Hokage or something like that. The talent in ninjutsu is also a monster visible to the naked eye. Huge amount of chakra, all attributes of water, fire, earth, wind, and thunder, and can even use shadow clone to release compound ninja techniques. Especially Grandmaster's earth style, even many Chunin are ashamed of it. Even though Mikoto is considered a genius among the Uchiha clan, he is often defeated and can only be ranked second. The scroll shows many encounters in Uchiha Mikoto's life through some short fragments. Among them, almost 80% are related to Uchiha. For example, I don't know when there was an annoying fly trying to please her. For another example, the family's reputation in Konoha continues to decline. It was already very low, and now it continues to decline. No one cares about the achievements he has made, but the whole village will immediately know about his slightest mistakes. Moreover, many things are ambiguous, or are just common practice, or even come from high-level orders. Under the publicity of these public opinions, it also became Uchiha's mistake. So gradually, even many ordinary people dared to openly discuss Uchiha's merits and demerits, and many people began to look at her strangely. After the reputation dropped to a certain level, some people began to argue from many aspects such as character, bloodline, inheritance, etc., and reasonably and well-founded, believed that Uchiha were born as an evil clan. Moreover, this statement has been widely circulated and received a lot of recognition. At the same time, the already restricted powers of the police department were once again restricted and curtailed. A large number of things that should have been under their jurisdiction and could be handled were gradually probed and usurped by other high-level power agencies headed by Umbu until they were completely banned and became routine by default. Sarutobi Hiruzen is very patient, and his skills in this area are quite high. The police department has been exploited and suppressed from a village within a village to almost becoming an empty shell. It took more than 10 or even 20 years. Every time, there was no big fight, but small blows. Even after the slap with the left hand, there was still a sweet date waiting for the right hand. Moreover, they often wait until things calm down completely before starting the next one, without any rush for success. Such subtle effects of boiling frogs in warm water were not noticed by quite a few Uchiha tribesmen. Some were even deceived by the disguised faces of higher-ups. He thinks that the higher-ups are kind and want to reconcile, but Uchiha himself is too evil and cannot meet the requirements of Lord Hokage, and he is not worthy at all. The few who were clear-headed were also ostracized as aliens. And gradually, even these few aliens quietly disappeared from everyone's sight and never appeared again. The time span of these things is too long. The seeds of a strategy are often planted years in advance, and when it occurs, there are other reasons and excuses to cover up and cooperate. Originally, most people were kept in the dark, but at this moment, when a person's years of experience and knowledge are condensed into just a few minutes, the cause and effect of the incident were instantly connected by everyone. In particular, every fragment shown in the scroll has its own special meaning. With countless such fragments connected together, even a fool can instantly understand what happened. In an instant, all the Uchiha in the two ninja worlds exploded, especially the many undead Uchiha in the original ninja world. Countless barrages, like a blowout, surged instantly. Damn old thief Sarutobi. You have such a vicious heart. That's what happened. It's so hateful that such conspiratorial means were used to deal with Uchiha. Haha, it's not just Uchiha. Don't forget, the fate of the Senju clan is not much better either. Why do you treat Uchiha like this? We are the founding clan of Konoha. Uchiha and Senju worked together to put down the troubled times of the Warring States period and established the Hidden Leaf Village. Among them, wood represents the unique wood style inheritance limit of the leader of the Senju clan, and the origin of leaf comes from the shape of the fan blades of our Uchiha clan emblem and the inherited treasure, the flame ball fan. Now the village wants to exclude Uchiha and kill them all. Isn't it ungrateful? Original Uchiha Shursui, undead, I was really stupid. It turned out that the top management never wanted reconciliation at all. What they wanted was always to destroy Uchiha. Original Senju Hashirama, undead, I built the village for peace, but I didn't expect that the village would eventually become a tool used by conspirators to murder the people. Original Uchiha Fugaku, undead, I am Uchiha Sinner. It was my weakness and concession that led to the advancement of the top management. Original Namikaze Minato, undead, Fugaku has actually seen some things clearly. However, he originally wanted to wait for the new Hokage to take over before solving the problem, but fate has its way. Original Inoki. Sarutobi Hiruzen is awesome. Our 4 great ninja villages couldn't destroy Senju and Uchiha, but he destroyed them just by talking. Who else is the strongest Hokage? Chapter 063. If Uchiha in the original ninja world is angry with many misled outsiders, so, the current Uchiha clan in Konoha is both scared and lucky. Almost everyone was extremely shocked after seeing what happened to Uchiha in that world. Fortunately, their F4 here died early. Fortunately, they have Uehara Shimei. Thank you. This Sarutobi Hiruzen was smiling, but he didn't realize that he could be so vicious. It's really hard to guard against. Some people thought that Shimei Uehara was exaggerating, or even making things up out of thin air. I think Uehara Shimei described the former high-level officials as doing all kinds of evil, calling him the most bad guy in history, just to occupy the position of Hokage. At this moment, I felt particularly ashamed. It turns out that they have been judging the gentleman with their villain's heart, and Hiruzen Sarutobi is really such a bad guy. Ninja World Uchiha Itachi. Why haven't you fought back after being bullied to this extent? He manipulated public opinion to smear the family's honor, ordered Umbu to fight for power, and assassinated visionary and talented clan members. Putting all these things together, even the death of Hokage would not be a pity, right? Ninja World Uchiha Yashiro, don't stand and talk without pain in your back. First, let's see what you did in another world. Ninja World Uchiha Shursui. Because they don't have a heavenly being named Uehara Shimei. Ninja World Uchiha Fugaku. Yes, the 4th generation is the truly great Hokage, who is far-sighted, selfless, and aboveboard. Although he took my fiancé by force, it also proves from the side that he has no prejudice against us Uchiha, right? Otherwise, how could he like my fiancé so much? Mikoto is also from the Uchiha clan. Ninja World Uchiha Iron Fire. You, the leader of the clan, I really don't know how to describe you. I would say you are a weak and incompetent waste. If the family had not given in at that time, the outcome would not have been much better than in the other world. You have the foresight to endure humiliation and bear the heavy burden. Uchiha, the original ninja world, was brought to destruction by you. Forget it. Let's praise Lord Hokage. Lord Hokage is awesome. Countless people are either filled with indignation or frightened. The video is still playing normally and is not affected at all. After a series of trivial events, Uchiha Mikoto finally ushered in a series of major life-turning points. In the 35th year of Konoha, Uchiha Mikoto graduated from the ninja school with excellent results of 1st place in culture, 2nd place in practical combat, and 2nd place overall. She did not directly join the police force like other Uchiha. Instead, with the dream of changing Uchiha's situation, he followed the village's arrangements, formed a 3-person team with his classmates, and was assigned a Jonin teacher. I hope that I can change everyone's view of Uchiha in the village through my own actions. The daily life of the newly formed Genin team is very simple, even boring. If they are not catching cats, they are cleaning up garbage, and even doing various farm work. The video only showed 1 or 2 clips and quickly entered the next stage. In the 37th year of Konoha, the 2nd Ninja War broke out. Mikoto, who was already a Chunin, was recruited to join the battlefield of the Rain Country together with her team. Previously, from Tsunade's perspective, everyone had seen the tragic casualties of this battle. But Tsunade came to the rescue. When she began to enter the Kingdom of Rain, it was already the middle stage of the battle, and the early stage of the greatest sacrifice had passed. Moreover, Tsunade is different from ordinary ninjas. As a commander, she will only appear in the most critical battles, such as the battle against Hanzo. This time, Uchiha Mikoto gave everyone a clearer understanding of the horror of this battle from the perspective of an ordinary ninja at the bottom. Sad news, countless tragedies, almost every day, familiar companions turn into cold names. Among them, Uchiha is the most prominent. Almost every team with members of the Uchiha tribe has frequent accidents, intelligence leaks, ambushes, wrong routes, and even sneak attacks in the base. Mikoto's team is no exception. She was ordered to go out to investigate for intelligence. She clearly hid her whereabouts, but was ambushed before she even reached the place. She went to pick up her companion who was ambushed, but it turned out that his companion was pretending to be an IWA ninja, and they exchanged swords as soon as they met. She was sent out for inspection, and an elite team from Uin Village appeared strangely near the base. Even inside the camp, Uchiha Station can encounter suicide attacks by spies. An accident is excusable, but accidents happen every time. Even if their brains are not working well, at this moment, the audience is vaguely aware of what is going on. After 5 or 6 such incidents in a row, but Mikoto's team was still intact. A certain pot shadow who did not want to be named immediately lost his patience. They were actually sent to Rain Shinobi Village to connect with the hidden wire. As soon as this mission came out, not to mention the Mikoto team themselves, almost all the ninjas in the 2 ninja worlds were in an uproar. Intelligence has always been the first lifeline of ninjas, not to mention wartime. Even in normal times, various spies, and corresponding counterintelligence and counterespionage have never stopped. Every intelligence officer who successfully sneaks into a hostile ninja village is extremely valuable. In order to prevent these precious spies who have gone through countless hardships from being discovered, let alone using ordinary teams to complete such dangerous and easily exposed tasks as joint contacts, even knowing it is impossible to let other unrelated people know. 10 out of 10 similar jobs are handled by Umbu, an elite with proven capabilities. Moreover, this method will not be used unless absolutely necessary. The ordinary transmission of information often involves fixed secret methods or special channels, such as psychic beasts, caravans, passwords, etc. Exchanging information through joints? What era is this antique from? Commander's Tent. Mikoto's mentor Jonin Emu Hayato was so angry that his face turned red. Even though Danzo threatened him with being a traitor, he still insisted on arguing. But no matter what they said, Danzo never let go. Not to mention changing the mission team and mission method, the location and time of the connection are stuck, and the so-called vital information must be brought back within 3 days. Chapter 064. Jonin Emu Hayato. The information handed over this time is of vital importance. If you fail to retrieve the information within the specified time, you will be immediately charged with delaying the fighter plane. I hope you know this. Inside the commander's military tent, Shimura Danzo sat behind a long desk with various scrolls and documents on both sides. His face seemed expressionless and extremely serious, but his cold eyes were filled with murderous intent. What about the rising star Jonin? What about the granddaughter of the great elder Uchiha? I can't stand you. If I want you to die, you must die. He dominated the battlefield of the Kingdom of Rain for half a year. If you include the border defense before the war, as well as various secret infiltrations, assassinations, and instigations, it was more than a year. Many opponents who couldn't stand it, including wealthy families such as Senju and Uchiha, have all been eliminated by various methods. Only this Jiangmu team was like a cockroach, so stubborn that they could not be killed no matter what, and they actually made meritorious deeds over and over again. If we continue to work hard like this, won't Uchiha have a 14-year-old Jonin? Is this good enough? Especially Hayato-im, who originally thought his talent was okay and had some value in winning over, but in the end he actually refused his solicitation and refused to even cooperate. You look down on me, Danzo, right? Since you think so highly of this Uchiha, then bury her with her. Yes, I understand. The protest failed. Faced with the authority of the advisor elder and the ninja commander, Im Hayato had no choice but to bow his head and accept it. The moment he took over the task, Danzo even sneered unabashedly. This smile is not only filled with some kind of superior contempt and disgust, but also a sense of pride that I have the power to do whatever I want. The scroll revealed his psychological activities in a timely manner. Damn Uchiha, why can't you rush to the front line and die on your own like Senju? And why do you still need me to set up a trap? However, after dealing with this Mikoto, Uchiha will almost be able to target him. That old guy Setsuna is still alive. If he is pushed too hard, he may die. Even the indecisive Hiruzen won't let me continue. Maybe even the position of commander will be removed. No, I have to take advantage of this last period of time to recruit a few more people to the roots to grow as quickly as possible. Yamanaka Jin, Aburame Fongfong, and Commoner Chunin Munikika are all good seedlings. I hope they can be wiser. If they are as disobedient as Hayato-im, I will have no choice but to send them to death. Inakacho and the common people were both Sarutobi's base, so we couldn't leave these talents to him. By the way, yesterday's report said that the Wood-style project's losses were somewhat beyond expectations, and there were not enough experimental questions. Bailuhu is a complete waste. So many people have died, and he has no reputation at all. However, the plan still has to go ahead. Although there are not many Senju clan members left, if they think about it more, they should be able to come up with another batch of experimental questions. Also, the Uchiha Tunin is only 19 years old. Yesterday, he was able to kill 2 Amige Cure Jonin without any injuries in a 1-on-4 situation. Maybe he has the qualifications to open Mangekyo. Moreover, he actually learned to be forbearing and hide his strength at such a young age. If it hadn't happened suddenly yesterday, even I wouldn't have known he was so powerful. This would have to be dealt with even more urgently. Different from the scene shown in the video, each one is a fragment taken from reality, and there are outsiders present, which is the perspective of the comparison person. No matter how stupid F4 is, it is impossible to show too much on the surface. Psychological activities are completely different. No one is cautious when thinking about problems in their own mind. Precisely because he has no scruples at all, when these contents were exposed to the public, it immediately caused an uproar. The various targeting of Mikoto, and the inability to completely break up and directly set up a trap to force them to die, have made everyone angry. The dark and various terrifying information revealed in psychological activities only added fuel to the fire. For a time, countless dirty words filled the entire barrage. If you don't listen to him, you will be killed. If you listen to him, you will be marked with a curse and used like a dog. In the end, you will die. Is this person mentally ill? Inakacho and the Civilian Ninja are Sarutobi's Hokage series. He wants to be a Hokage, so he should be killed. Senju Hyuga Uchiha was from a wealthy family, but he was not obedient enough and did not want to be a dog. He was also killed. The ninjas under him are just tools, and they are willing to die in various ways. It is really a blessing for the 4 great ninja villages to have Danzo in Konoha. Thanks to Konoha for not killing him, haha. Isn't the Wood Style project started by Orochimaru? And the announcement said it started around the time when the 3rd generation project abdicated. How come Danzo is working on it now? I don't know how to describe it. Danzo is awesome. It's really ridiculous. The Ninja World War has turned into a tool for some people to seek personal gain. Who are those of us who pursue peace? Are we fools? No wonder there is so much resentment behind Uchiha. If everyone behaves like this, who wouldn't be angry? The more I look at it, the more I feel that Hokage-sama's killing of the F4 headed by Sarutobi Hiruzen was the greatest blessing in the history of the village. Original Namikaze Minato, undead. How can someone's heart be so dark? Original Hatake Kakashi. Sarutobi Hiruzen deceived people on the surface, that is, to appease everyone, to prevent everyone from rising up to fight back, and to focus on the so-called overall situation. This is the will of fire. Secretly, Shimura Danzo was ruthless, assassinating, betraying, controlling, betraying, slandering, and using all means to weaken the village so that they could have complete control easily. I think back then, our Hatake clan was also a large samurai clan, with a population of several hundred, and now I am the only one left. Original Inoki, 2nd Hokage, you were so active yesterday, why can't I see you talking now? Come out and talk about your good disciple. Original Chio, undead, Senju Tobarama should be too embarrassed to come out again. Ninja World Whirlpool Kushina. It's really scary for a person like this to be at the top. Fortunately, we have Uehara-kun. In addition to criticizing F4, some viewers also became worried about Mikoto's situation in the video. Although Shimura Danzo is disgusting, the situation he set up is indeed dark enough. When performing a mission and meeting in the enemy's village, if they are not careful, they will be in danger immediately, not to mention that some people will definitely cause them to have an accident. Failure to perform the task is disobedience, which is no different from rebellion or death. And even if the connection is successful, Danzo can still expose the spy, saying that they colluded with the enemy and betrayed the village's intelligence. Dilemma: no matter which choice you make, you will die. Unless someone can immediately put things right and correct this erroneous order, it is basically unsolvable. But under the banner of Sarutobi Hiruzen, without Uehara Shimei, this possibility is almost equivalent to nothing. Chapter 065. As the discussion and criticism continued, soon, someone analyzed all the sinister intentions of Shimura Danzo's mission. Execution: there is a high probability of being trapped and dying. If you don't execute it, you will die in disobedience. Even if the execution is successful after overcoming many difficulties, there is still a deeper conspiracy waiting. It's almost a certain death situation. In the previous video, Mikoto's gentle personality, kind and innocent heart, and cute appearance have won countless fans. At this moment, seeing her in such danger, for a time, countless people held their breath. His eyes were fixed on the scroll, and even the atmosphere became particularly heavy. Even though everyone knew that Mikoto survived in the end, the worry in their hearts has not diminished at all. Of course, the hatred and anger towards Danzo, the thief, became even more intense. In the video, The four of Mikoto quickly left the camp and sneaked towards the hidden rain village. It seemed that they started the mission normally. However, the four people are four completely different performances. The leader of the team, Jonin Hayato, had a calm expression, but his eyes showed a hint of determination from time to time. Mikoto's eyes were dim. She was just kind, not stupid, and she had already noticed something was wrong. As for the remaining two people, one showed extreme vigilance, the kind of abnormal vigilance that was completely over the top. Just like a frightened bird, it will be frightened at the slightest disturbance. The other one looks normal on the surface, but always leaves the team. In a short period of time, he has disappeared from the sight of several people 3 or 4 times. Obviously, both of them have problems. The comparison video is limited in length and many things are very brief. Especially for ninja missions, including Tsunade, most of the time, only some important clips are played, or there are no pictures at all, only mission records that skyrocket every once in a while. But this time, it was rare that the entire process of the entire mission was shown. There are even voices from the 4 people from time to time. This is in the front, but it is a treatment exclusive to F4. As the 4 people progressed, the roles they played gradually became clear under the playback of psychological activities. Mikoto, you are a good boy. It's a pity that the teacher can't protect you anymore. This is the last time, just to repay Uchiha for his kindness. Mom, Dad, Grandpa, I'm sorry, I can't seem to go back. Hokage-sama, referring to 3rd generation. Why did Danzo Elder laugh so loudly after knowing that I was a spy sent by you? Does he want to target me as well? Elder Danzo, there is something wrong with their route. They made many detours, as if they were looking for something. The 4 of them made many twists and turns, and although they were generally heading towards Uin Village, they were most likely taking the wrong path in the middle. Sometimes to the left, sometimes to the right, and sometimes even turning back. Not long after, Hayato was walking when his eyes suddenly lit up. Although it quickly fell silent and became the same as before, the audience could still see it clearly in the close-up of the video. Many people also suddenly realized that Hayato seemed to have some advanced perception methods. This also explains why several previous attempts by Danzo ended in failure. I just don't know what happened to him to break this fatal situation like this. The 4 of them walked forward for a while, and Hayato suddenly issued a strange order. This place is beyond the scope of camp patrols and secret sentries. Enemies appear more frequently, and we are performing a secret mission. We must not expose our whereabouts. Uchiha Mikoto, you sneak and search for 2 kilometers due east, and then come back to report the situation. Mikoto hesitated for a moment, but then carried out the order as required. As for Hayato, he closed his eyes and waited on the spot. Half a minute later, the whole person suddenly turned into smoke with a bang. This turned out to be a shadow clone. At the moment when the shadow clone turned into smoke, a bright but cold arc suddenly drew behind him. The other 2 genin in the team covered their necks and fell to the ground with horror on their faces. The true form of Hayato appears. No one knows when he replaced his body with shadow clone, and no one knows what he did during this time. Even the video does not show the relevant content. All I know is that at this moment, he has been injured in many places, with blood stains on his body, and his complexion is extremely depressed. After killing 2 spies in the team, Hayato separated 2 more shadow clone. One transformed into Sand Shinobi and chased after Mikoto. The other one, still maintaining his appearance, took 3 blank scrolls from the main body and started writing on them quickly. He himself channeled 3 white falcons one after another, handed them to Shadow Clone, and then activated his teleportation and disappeared in place. The Shadow Clone who stayed in place, after writing 3 pieces of information respectively and sending them away one by one with the Psychic Beast, using a wind escape, he destroyed the heads of the 2 spies and disguised the scene. Then the chakra was consumed and turned into smoke. The Shadow Clone that became Sand Shinobi arrived late and lurked on Mikoto's path. Because it was a confidential mission, and the order he received was also a stealth search, Mikoto moved very carefully. He didn't use the teleportation technique to run around. Every time he advanced a certain distance, he would stop and look around carefully. But obviously, she is still far behind Jonin, especially Hayato, who is considered a good player among Jonin. Not long after, the Shadow Clone transformed into Sand Shinobi by Hayato was hit by a great breakthrough and hit a tree, causing serious injuries. Shadow Clone was unyielding. After a successful sneak attack, another series of thousands of shots came. Even though Mikoto tried his best to dodge, he was still hit. Moreover, these thousands of books are quenched with Sand Shinobi's unique poison, and the tips show a strange purple color. Mikoto's face turned gray at a speed visible to the naked eye. Sand Shinobi may not be as good as Konoha or even other ninja villages in terms of upper-level combat power, but ordinary ninjas are unexpectedly difficult to deal with. The reason lies in one word: poison. There is a top poison master in Sand Hidden Village who is no weaker than Tsunade. He has a variety of powerful poisons that can kill instantly, as well as mixed compound poisons that are extremely difficult to treat and analyze. On the front line, where there is a shortage of medical ninjas, there is almost no solution. Especially when facing Jin and Chunin of the same level, it is even more impressive. This is not the first day Mikoto has participated in the war, so he naturally knows the horror of Sand Shinobi poison. She forced herself to take an antidote pill, but her heart was still pessimistic. Because even if the detoxification pill is effective, there will be a dangerous battlefield of life and death in a matter of seconds, and there will be no time to take effect. The other party cannot wait for him to successfully detoxify before taking action. I'm sorry, Mom, Dad, and Grandpa. I really can't go back. However, just as Mikoto's eyes were weeping and his heart was filled with despair, Hayato Im's true form arrived. His face was full of anxiety and his body was scarred. In order to cover up the previously dried blood, a lot of blood was leached from the new wounds. Mikoto, Sand Shinobi is making a surprise attack. You immediately report back to the base with the information and remind them to take precautions. Sand Shinobi will be stopped by me. Seeing Mikoto hesitate and unwilling to leave, Hayato Im even lowered his face and yelled, "There are many ninjas recuperating from injuries in the camp. They have almost no fighting power. If they are attacked, the consequences will be disastrous. If this camp is breached, the entire war situation will be affected. Do you know how important the responsibility you shoulder now is?" After repeated operations, Uchiha Mikoto was finally forced to turn around and return. And not long after she left, the real Sand Shinobi finally appeared at the top of the screen. The battle is about to break out. Chapter 066. Seeing Mikoto's figure disappear from sight, Hayato finally felt relieved. But even though he was relieved, he still carefully took stock of whether there were any flaws in his plan. I carefully sensed and investigated on the way here, and I radiated outward for more than 10 kilometers along the left and right sides of the road. I didn't find any enemies. The 2 root squads at the back that were used to monitor and even kill directly at critical moments were all eliminated. As long as Uchiha Mikoto's luck is not extremely bad, successfully returning to the camp will not be a problem. Next, as long as we kill the vanguard of the Tsunade assault force, we can completely eliminate all doubts. Even if Danzo had spies in Sand Shinobi, it would be impossible to investigate what happened here. Duanzo doesn't hesitate to completely break his face publicly, but he also wants to take action against a well-known rookie jonin like me. His actions must have aroused dissatisfaction in the village, or Uchiha protested, and the position of commander would probably be removed as a result, so he dared to be so careless. Moreover, the handover time should be within these few days, otherwise he would not be so anxious. The whole team except Mikoto was wiped out. Even the leader Jonin was unfortunately killed in the battle. Mikoto himself was also seriously injured. According to usual practice, they will not be sent out to perform tasks in a short period of time. The recovery from the injury, the deployment of a new team, and the running in with teammates would be impossible to complete in less than half a month. During this time, the new commander must have been in place, so there is no need to worry about being targeted. In addition, bringing back the information about the Tsunade raiding force is a great achievement. Together with the accumulated military exploits, it is enough for Mikoto to be promoted to Jonin. But the top management will not allow such a young genius to appear in Uchiha, and since he is still a genius who loves Uchiha, it is very likely that he will find a reason to switch him back to the defense for repairs. In this way, Mikoto can even get out of this quagmire without having to continue to participate in the war. Once she returns to the village, it will be easy to join the police department as her, but it will be difficult for the village to transfer her. As for all the information about the confidential mission, including the specific identity of the spy who infiltrated Yuin village, as well as the location and time of the connection between the two parties, etc., I was the only one who knew all of this, and after reading it, I immediately destroyed the mission scroll in front of Danzo. After my death, even if the news leaks and the spy is discovered, there will be no reason to investigate and blame Mikoto. Uchiha will receive my message soon, and they will take action. I have also arranged for other people to take care of the camp secretly. There should be no other loopholes, right? When Hayato Im's series of continuous thoughts appeared in everyone's ears, almost everyone's eyes were filled with crystal tears. This ordinary jonin, who was unremarkable and did not even appear in the plot at all, touched countless people. He used his own death. This caused Mikoto to lose the qualification to perform the mission, thus helping her escape from this almost unsolvable dead situation and successfully survived. As a result, Mikoto even opened the 3 Magatama Sharingan and became an elite jonin. It's so touching. Maybe this is what teachers and parents mean. Whether he is a ninja or a teacher, this jonin named Hayato can be called excellent. Konoha was devastated so many times, but it was not destroyed in the end. It's really a great fortune, careful planning and all kinds of calculations, just to let myself die in a reasonable way. Such spirit and courage are worthy of a ninja. Once again, it proves the greatness of our 4th generation. Without him, I can't imagine what Konoha and we are like now. Original Uchiha Mikoto, undead, thank you, teacher. Thank you very much. Apart from my parents, maybe the only person I am grateful to is you. Original Namikaze Minato, undead. It's a pity that such a promising jonin should have such a level of infighting. Primordial Vortex Kushina, undead, wow. I want such a good teacher too. That perverted old man Jiraiya always disappears easily and cannot be found. Original Uchiha Itachi. So Uchiha has suffered so many injustices? I have always been deceived. I thought it was because the clan members were not strong enough that they hated the higher-ups so much. Ninja World Senju Hayato. Am I actually Uchiha Mikoto's teacher in another world? Unfortunately, I don't seem to have such an outstanding disciple here. Countless barrages, especially when the current Ninja World Senju Hayato spoke out. It reached a climax instantly. This retired ordinary jonin, who was not well known in either world, suddenly became famous, and became famous throughout the entire ninja world. Whether it is the calmness when encountering a crisis, the acumen and wisdom to break the deadlock, the cautious behavior of a ninja, or even the courage and will to die in the end, etc., they all make countless people admire them. The 2 ninja worlds, including Jiraiya, Metkai, first Hokage, second Hokage, and other top experts, almost everyone praised him. Even Uchiha Mikoto, who was sitting in Uehara Shimei's arms at this moment, with tears in their eyes, they decided to prepare some gifts and pay a good visit tomorrow to thank this teacher whom they had never met before. Original Underworld. Uchiha Mikoto knew that the teacher was not accidentally killed by Sand Shinobi. Instead, ninjutsu uses perception to actively find Sand Shinobi, and then mounts it to seek death, just to save himself. The whole person was immediately enveloped in tremendous grief. I was so moved that I burst into tears, almost crying until I lost my voice. If it were not for the spirit state, maybe turning on Mangekyo would be enough. The original ninja world, a hidden cave. Uchiha Itachi's eyes and expression were filled with horror. He had never understood before why the clan members hated the higher-ups so much, and even hated Konoha as a whole. Why can't we understand Mr. Hokage, who is dedicated to the stability, strength, and peace of Konoha, and even his hair turns gray? Why can't you get along well with everyone in the village? I feel that they are not considerate enough, and there is something wrong with their brains. Thinking that Uchiha is an evil clan, except for his younger brother, everyone else will die without mercy. He even finally made up his mind to kill the entire clan. But at this moment, looking at his mother's series of experiences, he was immediately confused. Uchiha Mikoto is the granddaughter of the great elder and holds a high position in the family. The reason why his father became the clan leader back then had a lot to do with marrying his mother. She also has a teacher named Jonin who is strong, courageous, and very protective of her. There is no specific stain on him. On the contrary, he is very kind. Even she had encountered so many unfair things and was forced into death situations 5 or 6 times in a row. You can imagine how other ordinary Uchiha are treated. And after encountering so many things, being betrayed, targeted, and murdered, it would be weird if Uchiha didn't have any resentment. A huge burst of shame and anger came. Uchiha Itachi only felt that his Mangekyo might be stimulated to continue evolving. Chapter 067. Although Uchiha Mikoto didn't know that the teacher took the initiative to die in order to break Danzo's deadlock against her, but the death of Ime Hayato still made her activate the Sharingan, and once activated, it became 3 Magatama. She was less than 15 years old at this time. Even in the entire history of the Uchiha clan, except for a few monsters, they are enough to be ranked among the top geniuses. However, after half a year of training on the battlefield, I was still targeted everywhere. Even Uchiha Mikoto, who is kind-hearted, is no longer as simple as before, and he has grown up after all. She concealed the news that she had opened Sharingan and did not disclose it to anyone. As the video continues, just as Hayato predicted and designed in advance, Within a few days, Sannin replaced Shimura Danzo as the commander of the Rain Country Ninja Army. Changing the commander, all matters were extremely complicated, and neither Danzo nor Sannin had time to specifically target a small Chunin. And soon, Mikoto was moved to the rear to rest after recovering from his injuries, and did not continue to participate in the war. The reason is that the team suffered too many casualties and needs to be reorganized. Opening Sharingan is the most important life node for Mikoto in the early stage. After passing this point, his performance became somewhat lackluster. In the following video, it almost only revolves around 3 things. The first is to join the police department and begin to truly understand Uchiha's situation and experiences in Konoha. The second is the friendship with Uzumaki Kushina, my best friend. And the third one, a few years later, married Uchiha Fugaku, the clan leader candidate. In the middle, there are also some progress and news about the Ninja World War. Amigakure, Konoha, Iwa Ninja, and Fu Ninja were all involved in a chaotic battle in the Land of Water, with almost no rules at all. On either side, there are 3 enemies attacking each other, which can be described as chaos. But Orochimaru cleverly used Sand Hidden Village to pin down the Iwa Nin. He designed to separate the demigod Sancho Hanzo from the ordinary ninja army of Rain Shinobi Village. In a ninja world version of Tenji horse racing, he concentrated his efforts to eliminate the country of Rain from the battle first. After there are no spoilers, Orochimaru decisively divided his troops into 2 groups. He and Jiraiya also defended the Iwa Nin at the border, so that Inoki, a cunning old man, did not dare to act rashly. On the other side, Tsunade and Elite Jonin, known as the White Fang of Konoha, struck hard at Sunagakure. When the 2 trump cards of Poison and Puppet were all eliminated, Chiyo, the old woman, could not hold on for long. Soon the army was defeated like a mountain, and even his son and daughter-in-law were assigned to the front line. As for the Kingdom of Water and the Kingdom of Thunder, I don't know if there is someone's conspiracy, but they opened up a front on their own. There was a time when they stole each other's houses, and they almost lost their minds and had no time to care about this place. The Second Ninja War lasted for a short time, only 3 years in total. But in these 3 years, on the premise of a complete victory, Uchiha's vitality was seriously injured. Senju was almost wiped out, and a large number of middle-class families of the Mesozoic generation were directly beaten to the point where they were almost extinct. Hiruzen Sarutobi, as Hokage, and high-level consultant F4 finally put aside their burdens and biggest worries, and started a series of blatant black box operations. The first thing to bear the brunt is the huge legacy of the Senju clan, including ninjutsu inheritance, physical property, commercial industries, houses and land, etc. It was first expropriated and plundered by the village in the name of justice, and then authorized to Sarutobi for inheritance and so-called temporary custody and management in the name of the village. Then, almost all important positions were replaced by direct descendants of the 4 major families. The direct subordinates headed by Umbu also began to encroach on the rights of other departments. The Uchiha Police Department, a village within a village without jurisdiction, is the biggest victim. It went directly from a super powerful department that can keep pace with Umbu, to an urban management who can only bully some small traders and make people full of irritation. And Umbu, who was already extremely powerful, not only had his head full of fat, but also completely lost his checks and balances. He was truly the only one in the family. Moreover, it almost became Sarutobi's private property. Danzo, under the control and acquiescence of the 3rd generation's purpose, massacred dissidents, and countless people were accidentally killed. Konoha White Fang is the most aggrieved and famous one, but he is by no means the only one. Countless outstanding ninjas, whose names never even appeared in the plot, disappeared without a trace. Almost all famous geniuses do not survive to adulthood. Since Sannin, the only exceptions were Namikaze Minato, a disciple who was considered by Jiraiya to be the son of the prophecy, and Kakashi, who had an incredible IQ and had no worries behind him. Even Kakashi has worked at the root for a while. Many other people, even those from the so-called Hokage family like Annihilated who share his heart, have not grown up. After Hyuga Uchiha and other wealthy families, the Aburame clan, which has the strongest overall strength, cannot even protect the son of the clan leader and the strongest genius in the family, and is forcibly pulled into the roots without any means. As for Inoka Butterfly and Hyuga Aburame, they managed to survive. Many families that did not appear in the original plot did not mean that they did not exist, but were killed to extinction during this period. Especially the family of secret arts, such as the art of spiritual transformation and super beast pseudo-painting. That's right, Sai, Naruto's substitute member of Team 7, whose signature ninjutsu does not come from root teaching, but family tradition. It was also mentioned in the original plot that Sai has an older brother named Xian. In order to let his younger brother, Sai, survive the cruel training mode at the root, he deliberately died at the hands of Sai in the battle, helping Sai forget feelings. Of course, Sai and Xian were already at a later stage, but at this time, F4's attack on the blood succession and secret technique families had already begun. Uchiha Makoto, who joined the police department at the end of World War II, happened to experience this darkest time. Although I didn't witness everything with my own eyes, but one message after another, each battle report, each long-standing name, as well as the hero's cemetery and heroic monument that have expanded several times, all these news combined still make all the viewers shudder. It's too dark, really too dark. He's so cold-blooded that it's downright terrifying. What kind of beast must this be to destroy humanity to such an extent? Even though everyone in the two worlds has already accepted that Hiruzen Sarutobi and Danzo Shimura are not a good person, looking at this horrific scene, I was shocked again. Everyone discovered how shallow their previous understanding of F4 was, and that they were countless times darker than they imagined. Chapter 068. 5 years after the Second Ninja War ended, the Third Ninja War began immediately afterwards. Or, in a sense, the last battle was never over at all. It's just that the battle damage was too great, and the strategies of each village were obviously problematic, so they had to rest for 5 years in the middle. In the 45th year of Konoha, just 1 year after White Fang committed suicide, Kazekage, the third generation of Kirigakure Village, disappeared. In order to divert the conflict, Sand Shinobi launched a surprise attack and took the lead in launching a war against the Land of Fire. Since the defeat in the Second Ninja World War, Sunigakure has been working hard. Although it was a hasty start in terms of time, all preparations were very complete, and the dignified shadow of one village actually disappeared in his own ninja village. Under the deliberate guidance, the entire Sand Hidden Village was filled with extreme anger, and the military morale were very high. In addition, the senior advisors headed by Chiyo publicly stated that they would select the fourth-generation Shadow through this war. Qualified candidates are very excited in their hearts, and they are all gearing up, wishing they could fight immediately. What's even more amazing is that during the Second Ninja War, the two absolute main forces fighting Sand Shinobi, White Fang committed suicide, Tsunade ran away, and the entire Kingdom of Wind was more confident from top to bottom, believing that this was the golden opportunity to make great achievements. The combination of several factors made the Sunigakure ninja army invincible, almost as if they were in an uninhabited land. As soon as the war began, they penetrated several defensive fronts of the Fire Country with lightning speed, and almost reached the border of Konoha and went straight to Huanglong. But seeing that the most powerful country in the ninja world was so arrogant, the three countries of Water, Earth, and Thunder also decisively came to an end. With enemies on all sides, Konoha has faced its most dangerous moment in history. What? Going to the Kingdom of Water? You heard it wrong, right? How could it be the battlefield of the Kingdom of Water? Police Department, 7 years later, Uchiha Makoto, who has been successfully promoted to Jonin and started serving as the squad leader, is in disbelief. Uchiha's strongest and most dependent one is Sharingan, known as the three major pupil techniques. Regardless of original talent, as long as Sharingan is turned on, chakra will immediately increase and you will directly gain dynamic vision and powerful genjutsu abilities. Passed down for thousands of years, Uchiha's development and utilization of these two abilities has almost reached its extreme. Uchiha Fluid Technique, Uchiha Flow Technique, and Uchiha Throwing Technique are all known for their speed and change, and are extremely suitable for dynamic vision. The combined power of the two is far greater than 1+1. Genjutsu has a complete set of training and fighting methods from 1 Magatama to 3 Magatama. The simple ones can disturb, shock, and stun the enemy's mind, while the more advanced ones can directly pull the enemy into the world of Genjutsu and make them completely lost. Genjutsu interferes with the murderous aura and shock. Uchiha swordsmanship and taijutsu throwing techniques take advantage of the opportunity to attack quickly, coupled with fire style that can limit displacement. This set of well-coordinated tactical routines has also spread the reputation in the ninja world that Uchiha will escape one-on-one. But whether it is dynamic vision or Sharingan's exclusive Genjutsu, it must be performed with sight. As for the Kirigakure technique that Kirigakure is best at, the thing that is most affected is the line of sight. Even the other major support besides Sharingan, fire style was completely restrained by water style. Moreover, it is on the sea, and the water is inexhaustible. There are generally two ways for ninjas to perform escape techniques. One is to first use chakra to create corresponding elements, such as fire style, most of which are spit out through the mouth. There is also lightning style, which is also condensed directly on the body. The other method is to directly control the existing elements in the surrounding environment without creating elements. This is true for water style, earth style, and some wind escape. A simple proof is that Kakashi Orochimaru and others used earth flow walls, which are all raised from the ground. When Konoha collapsed the plan, Sarutobi Hiruzen was trapped on the roof, but he spit out a large mouthful of soil to use the Earth Dragon Bomb. Among them, the second method consumes more than 50% less chakra than the previous one. Moreover, the more powerful the ninjutsu is, the higher this ratio will be. This is also another important reason why Hanzo dared to challenge 3 people in the small Yuin village. Besides his extraordinary strength, the Land of Rain has not much else but a lot of water. This principle also applies to the Water Kingdom and Kirigakure Village. The environment has a great bonus to the strength of the Mist Ninja itself, coupled with attribute restraint and combat method and tactical route restraint. This order almost tells Uchiha to die. Not to mention, what the Uchiha don't know at this moment is that Obito has already controlled the 4th Mizukage. He was also full of hatred for Uchiha and wanted to kill him quickly. This was equivalent to feeding the meat directly into his mouth. Therefore, when we got this news, not only Mikoto was in disbelief, but the entire police department and almost all Uchiha stared at Sharingan. Shock and anger arose, and the crowd was instantly excited. What shocked the Uchiha people even more was that, at this moment, Uchiha Fugaku, who had just taken over as clan leader, came out to persuade everyone. On the left, the situation is critical, but on the right, there is nothing the top management can do. As mentioned earlier, the family cannot be isolated. It must integrate into Konoha and gain everyone's trust. Later, he had a plan, and when the time came, he would definitely give an explanation to the heroic souls in the future. Uchiha immediately divided into 2 groups. One group agreed with Fugaku's opinion and believed that at such a critical moment, they must not cause chaos to the village, otherwise it would be a recipe for death. The other group was even more angry, and several were so angry that they even advanced to the Sharingan level. Seeing this bizarre scene, the barrage suddenly surged. Aren't there 4 battlefields? Earth, wind, and thunder can be any one. So why does it have to be the Kingdom of Water? It's 4 against 1, and there is a danger of wiping out the village, but they still dare to fight among themselves, or blatantly fight among themselves. Sarutobi Hiruzen Shinama is a talent. So, if it weren't for the sudden rise of the yellow flash, Konoha would have been wiped out by our Iwagakure village. I feel sorry for Uchiha from another world. This is so G miserable. It's like forcing her head to be decapitated. Uchiha won't accept such an outrageous order in the end, right? Who said Uchiha has a bad temper? He's been bullied so much, and yet he didn't rebel. It's obvious that he has a very good temper. Ninja World Uehara Sasuke. I was still wondering before, how could such a powerful Uchiha be wiped out silently? After seeing this, I realized that Uchiha deserved to be killed. Really, he was not unjust at all. They have made it clear that they want to mess with you and kill you, but you still act like a fool, obediently put the noose around your neck, and then ask others if I am good. What's more, rabbits will bite when they are anxious, and dogs will jump over walls when they are anxious. It's not like the Second Ninja War has only one battlefield, the Land of Rain, so there's no way to choose. Really, Jujuezi. Original Uchiha Itachi. Maybe it's because you're afraid that opposition will cause civil strife, right? After all, the Ninja World War was so dangerous at the time that the slightest mistake could lead to the destruction of the country. Ninja World Uchiha Itachi. What kind of bullshit is this? Uchiha is afraid of destroying villages and subjugating the country. As the 3rd-generation project of Hokage, F4 as a senior executive is not afraid or worried. They are obviously the first ones responsible. Original Hatake Kakashi. This plan was proposed by Shimura Danzo. Originally, the 3rd-generation project himself was opposed to it at first, thinking that it should not be forced too much, but unexpectedly Uchiha agreed. Ninja Realm Uehara Maki. This is the crouching dragon and phoenix chick that Dad said. It's awesome. Ninja World Namikaze Minato. Losing humanity, losing a lot, losing animality, losing everything. Every sentence of 4th generation is always thought-provoking and full of philosophy. As soon as Kakashi said one sentence, the entire barrage instantly fell into silence. There are only a few hanging on it. Without him, he was stunned. After all, Senju still had a plan to hide among the common people. Although he was destroyed on the surface, no one knows how many secretly he had. At least the bloodline must have been passed down. Uchiha, who was also from a top wealthy family, was killed until only a rebel nin and an orphan remained. I was originally sympathetic, but it was a pity. But now, naturally, everyone was extremely angry at third generation and F4, but they were also furious at Uchiha. There should be a limit to being mentally retarded, right? Isn't this a bit too much for you? Chapter 069. Compared with the straightforward World War II, the Third Ninja War lasted extremely long and was more complicated. A full 4 years have passed since the disappearance of Kazekage, the third generation of Konoha, in the 45th year of Konoha, but the war has no intention of stopping at all. Instead, it is getting more intense and has a tendency to intensify. Faced with 4 years of continuous siege and attrition from the 4 major ninja villages, even Konoha, which has a rich family, is gradually beginning to be unable to hold on. Not only the admission requirements for ninja school have been greatly reduced, but as long as you can use a little chakra, you can attend. The graduation age has also been adjusted several times, from the original 6-year system to a 3-year system. Even war orphans brought from outside the village, as long as they meet the conditions, will be allowed to enter the ninja school and can graduate normally and become Konoha's ninjas. Children are like this, so naturally the elderly won't let them go either. Old antiques from various families, whether they are retired ninjas or those with hidden powers who are regarded as their heritage, are all required to join the battlefield. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen himself behaved very kindly, very open-minded, and very warm, it seemed that everything was negotiable. But the shining bayonet on the side and the cold and bloodthirsty look in Danzo's eyes were speaking silently. If you want to be decent, I will give you dignity. If you don't want to be decent, then I will help you be decent. Then we will see who is not decent. If I give you face, you have to take it with both hands. Don't be ignorant of what is good and what is bad. It will be bad for everyone. Under such a situation, Uchiha finally stepped into the battlefield of the Kingdom of Water. Moreover, almost the entire clan was dispatched, leaving only Mikoto and some other women and children, and even the old and weak were taken away. It is particularly worth mentioning that Uchiha Fugaku, this idiot, claims to set an example and let his children grow up and mature earlier. He also brought his son, Uchiha Itachi, who had just turned 4 years old, to the battlefield. Mikoto cried until tears streamed down his face, but he had no choice but to watch his child being taken away. It can only be said that Wulong is the best, but Fengchu is no less generous. No doubt and no surprise, Uchiha Itachi entered the battlefield for the first time, and saw the horrific scene of corpses everywhere and rivers of blood, and the cruel scene where everyone was fighting each other to the point of being completely unscrupulous. I was immediately frightened. I was just 4 years old and had never seen or learned anything. I actually started to think about life and the meaning of living. Even after being answered that life was meaningless, he jumped off the cliff in despair and committed suicide, using death to feel the meaning of life. What is the concept of 4 years old? He is still at the age when his father is the most powerful in the world. He is an age where he is full of curiosity and thirst for knowledge about everything, and is shocked when he sees a bird flying. The human brain matures at about 3 years old and gradually erases all memories before the age of 3. Therefore, it is only at the age of 4 that children really begin to have a certain understanding of the world. While others were still arguing about whose father was more powerful, Uchiha Itachi had already begun to explore the birth and meaning of life. This is not precocity, maturity, or genius, but a disease. As expected, Uchiha Itachi, who used to be normal, just a little smarter than the average kid, started to feel strange. It's like I've never come out of that scene. Almost every day, even every moment, I am thinking about some magical questions. Life, death, peace, war, family, village, world. Moreover, it is not by asking others, consulting books and materials, observing, researching, analyzing, and summarizing social phenomena, etc. I just sat there by myself, thinking silently, just thinking, dreaming, forcing myself to think, and forcing myself to think. He has not yet gone to school and has not tried to understand the world in other ways. I also don't know or realize that many things have been known, experienced, and concluded by predecessors for a long time. 50 years of Konoha, 2 years after Uchiha took over the battlefield of Water Country, from the two fronts, the east and west, each gave birth to an ultimate genius who was so dazzling that he put all the veteran experts to shame. Namake's Minato and Uchiha Shursui. Namake's Minato used his super-fast neural reaction speed and the second bug level time and space ninjutsu ever learned. In addition, according to himself, he is not very good at and skilled, but he can activate the perfect Sage mode instantly. Challenge the famous Yunin AB combination in the battlefield of the Kingdom of Thunder. This makes the Raikage Air and perfect Jinchuriki unable to continue to play a role and become a decoration. And when the situation is most dangerous, go deep into the rear of the Earth Kingdom, kill 50 Jonin instantly, and break the back of the IWA Ninja in one battle. Destroy its logistics material transportation channel, the defense facilities protecting this channel, and the underground fortress group where the defense troops are stationed. It can be said that he single-handedly changed the situation of the war. After that, the Earth Kingdom negotiated peace and retreated to its own ninja village. Yunin Village was worried that someone would steal his home, so he hurried back to the village, only to be ambushed halfway. In order to preserve the heritage of the ninja village, the Third Raikage single-handedly fought against tens of thousands of ninja troops in Iwagakure Village, dragging them to the spot and fighting fiercely for 3 days and nights. In this battle, the strongest Raikage, third-generation Yuzuki AI, who holds the titles of the strongest spear and the strongest shield, died on the spot. The losses were not unbearable. After the 50 Jonin in Iwagakure Village were instantly killed by the ultimate move, thousands of ordinary ninjas were crushed by Ping A. It can be said that he suffered a loss of blood, suffered a lot, and was disgraced to the point of shame. Water Kingdom Battlefield, instantaneous Shursui. Although Shursui is slightly inferior to Golden Flash in terms of fame and achievements, but the power of the Uchiha clan can make the entire ninja village of Kirigakure lose their temper. He is the first to do this, and he is also the first sharp blade and strongest shield. Not only does he have Jinjutsu attainments that far exceed those of ordinary Sharingans, but his attainments in the teleportation technique are also extraordinary. What's even more frightening is that he also combined the two to create a magic teleportation move. Ordinary clones, even more advanced attribute clones, and blood successor clones have two fatal flaws. First, once the injury exceeds a certain level, it will automatically disappear immediately. The second is that the chakra needs to be divided equally, which will reduce the main body's combat power. The clone of Uchiha Shursui is the most common E-level clone technique, which is the basic ninjutsu for ninja school students. After combining the characteristics of Jinjutsu, the flaws that were easy to see at first completely disappeared. Secondly, when you attack the opponent, it will be penetrated directly like hitting an illusion. But if you really think it doesn't exist and dare to ignore it, but it can immediately replace the original body and deliver a critical strike, allowing you to experience what it means to be so cool and soaring. In addition to the emerging talents such as Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Shursui who are exerting their strength and rising, Konoha's veteran experts are not idle either. Orochimaru took advantage of Tsunade Village's eagerness for success to lure the enemy deep into the country, then put them to death and survive. Lure Sand Shinobi to Mount Kikyo on the border of Konoha. Then, he risked his life to fight to the death and refused to retreat in a bloody battle, nailing the old woman Chiyo to the door a foot away from Konoha. At the same time, Danzo took the route and struck hard at the logistics line of Tsunade Village that had grown to obscene size, and struck a critical blow. The Kingdom of Wind is already lacking in resources. There has been no success in the front, and the rear is weak and will soon be unable to support itself. Sarutobi Hiruzen also used his consistent style and ability to actively negotiate peace with other countries. After promising a lot of benefits, the Third Ninja War finally came to an end. Chapter 069. Compared with the straightforward World War II, the Third Ninja War lasted extremely long and was more complicated. A full 4 years have passed since the disappearance of Kazekage, the third generation of Konoha in the 45th year of Konoha, but the war has no intention of stopping at all. Instead, it is getting more intense and has a tendency to intensify. Faced with 4 years of continuous siege and attrition from the 4 major ninja villages, even Konoha, which has a rich family, is gradually beginning to be unable to hold on. Not only the admission requirements for ninja school have been greatly reduced, but as long as you can use a little chakra, you can attend. The graduation age has also been adjusted several times, from the original 6-year system to a 3-year system. Even war orphans brought from outside the village, as long as they meet the conditions, will be allowed to enter the ninja school and can graduate normally and become Konoha's ninjas. Children are like this, so naturally the elderly won't let them go either. Old antiques from various families, whether they are retired ninjas or those with hidden powers who are regarded as their heritage, are all required to join the battlefield. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen himself behaved very kindly, very open-minded, and very warm, it seemed that everything was negotiable. But the shining bayonet on the side and the cold and bloodthirsty look in Danzo's eyes were speaking silently. If you want to be decent, I will give you dignity. If you don't want to be decent, then I will help you be decent. Then we will see who is not decent. If I give you face, you have to take it with both hands. Don't be ignorant of what is good and what is bad. It will be bad for everyone. Under such a situation, Uchiha finally stepped into the battlefield of the Kingdom of Water. Moreover, almost the entire clan was dispatched, leaving only Mikoto and some other women and children, and even the old and weak were taken away. It is particularly worth mentioning that Uchiha Fugaku, this idiot, claims to set an example and let his children grow up and mature earlier. He also brought his son, Uchiha Itachi, who had just turned 4 years old, to the battlefield. Mikoto cried until tears streamed down his face, but he had no choice but to watch his child being taken away. It can only be said that Wulong is the best, but Fengchu is no less generous. No doubt and no surprise, Uchiha Itachi entered the battlefield for the first time, and saw the horrific scene of corpses everywhere and rivers of blood, and the cruel scene where everyone was fighting each other to the point of being completely unscrupulous. I was immediately frightened. I was just 4 years old and had never seen or learned anything. I actually started to think about life and the meaning of living. Even after being answered that life was meaningless, he jumped off the cliff in despair and committed suicide, using death to feel the meaning of life. What is the concept of 4 years old? He is still at the age when his father is the most powerful in the world. He is an age where he is full of curiosity and thirst for knowledge about everything, and is shocked when he sees a bird flying. The human brain matures at about 3 years old and gradually erases all memories before the age of 3. Therefore, it is only at the age of 4 that children really begin to have a certain understanding of the world. While others were still arguing about whose father was more powerful, Uchiha Itachi had already begun to explore the birth and meaning of life. This is not precocity, maturity, or genius, but a disease. As expected, Uchiha Itachi, who used to be normal, just a little smarter than the average kid, started to feel strange. It's like I've never come out of that scene. Almost every day, even every moment, I am thinking about some magical questions. Life, death, peace, war, family, village, world. Moreover, it is not by asking others, consulting books and materials, observing, researching, analyzing, and summarizing social phenomena, etc. I just sat there by myself, thinking silently, just thinking, dreaming, forcing myself to think, and forcing myself to think. He has not yet gone to school and has not tried to understand the world in other ways. I also don't know or realize that many things have been known, experienced, and concluded by predecessors for a long time. 50 years of Konoha, 2 years after Uchiha took over the battlefield of Water Country, from the two fronts, the east and west, each gave birth to an ultimate genius who was so dazzling that he put all the veteran experts to shame. Namikaze Minato and Uchiha Shursui. Namikaze Minato used his super-fast neural reaction speed and the second bug level time and space ninjutsu ever learned. In addition, according to himself, he is not very good at and skilled, but he can activate the perfect Sage mode instantly. Challenge the famous Yunin AB combination in the battlefield of the Kingdom of Thunder. This makes the Reikage Air and perfect Jinchuriki unable to continue to play a role and become a decoration. And when the situation is most dangerous, go deep into the rear of the Earth Kingdom, kill 50 Jonin instantly, and break the back of the IWA Ninja in one battle. Destroy its logistics material transportation channel, the defense facilities protecting this channel, and the underground fortress group where the defense troops are stationed. It can be said that he single-handedly changed the situation of the war. After that, the Earth Kingdom negotiated peace and retreated to its own ninja village. Yunin Village was worried that someone would steal his home, so he hurried back to the village, only to be ambushed halfway. In order to preserve the heritage of the ninja village, the Third Reikage single-handedly fought against tens of thousands of ninja troops in Kirigakure Village, dragging them to the spot and fighting fiercely for 3 days and nights. In this battle, the strongest Reikage, third-generation Yuzuki AI, who holds the titles of the strongest spear and the strongest shield, died on the spot. The losses were not unbearable. After the 50 Jonin in Kirigakure Village were instantly killed by the ultimate move, thousands of ordinary ninjas were crushed by Ping A. It can be said that he suffered a loss of blood, suffered a lot, and was disgraced to the point of shame. Water Kingdom Battlefield, instantaneous Shursui. Although Shursui is slightly inferior to Golden Flash in terms of fame and achievements, but the power of the Uchiha clan can make the entire ninja village of Kirigakure lose their temper. He is the first to do this, and he is also the first sharp blade and strongest shield. Not only does he have Jinjutsu attainments that far exceed those of ordinary Sharingans, but his attainments in the teleportation technique are also extraordinary. What's even more frightening is that he also combined the two to create a magic teleportation move. Ordinary clones, even more advanced attribute clones, and blood successor clones have two fatal flaws. First, once the injury exceeds a certain level, it will automatically disappear immediately. The second is that the chakra needs to be divided equally, which will reduce the main body's combat power. The clone of Uchiha Shursui is the most common E-level clone technique, which is the basic ninjutsu for ninja school students. After combining the characteristics of Jinjutsu, the flaws that were easy to see at first completely disappeared. Secondly, when you attack the opponent, it will be penetrated directly like hitting an illusion. But if you really think it doesn't exist and dare to ignore it, but it can immediately replace the original body and deliver a critical strike, allowing you to experience what it means to be so cool and soaring. In addition to the emerging talents such as Namake's Minato and Uchiha Shursui who are exerting their strength and rising, Konoha's veteran experts are not idle either. Orochimaru took advantage of Kirigakure Village's eagerness for success to lure the enemy deep into the country, then put them to death and survive. Lure Sand Shinobi to Mount Kikyo on the border of Konoha. Chapter 071. In terms of logic alone, what Uchiha Fugaka said is actually not wrong. Give up war compensation, or give up all compensation from the four major countries at once to seek the peace that is already within easy reach. It is equivalent to making Konoha's 6 years of hard work and countless sacrifices all in vain. Instead of weakening other ninja villages and strengthening Konoha's foundation, it is foreseeable that in a decade or even a few years, as the enemy's strength recovers, a new war will begin to brew. For the shadow of a village, this is definitely a huge political stain, and it is one that cannot be washed away. Not to mention, during the three wars, Hiruzen Sarutobi also made a series of serious wrong decisions that could be counted on both hands. Not just Uchiha, many people, many families, many promising geniuses, and even a few already famous strong men all died in vain because of this. Hyuga, even the Zong family rarely died in battle. If Matt Dai, Namake's Minato, Uchiha Shursui, and others hadn't suddenly emerged and fought with their lives, in addition, Orochimaru is still strong, and it is not impossible for Konoha to be wiped out. What surprised everyone even more was that, even in the face of such danger, even if the enemy has reached the entrance of Konoha's village and only the last line of defense is left, Sarutobi Hiruzen, known as the strongest Hokage, is still sitting in Konoha. As a high-level executive, F4 still has not stepped into the battlefield. Even their family just randomly sent some people to deal with it, and they were still in relatively safe logistics and auxiliary positions. This in itself has caused numerous dissatisfactions. After all, no one is a fool, and no matter how you understand Shangi, you will never be able to understand it to this extent. Faced with this situation, faced with the public anger, in addition to thanking the throne, there is almost no second option except using the Hokage's throne to divert conflicts and divert everyone's attention. And Sarutobi Hiruzen can indeed be regarded as a qualified politician. Without waiting to be impeached or pulled down from the altar, he decisively raised it first. After it became clear that the fourth Hokage would really be elected, throughout Konoha, the wind direction suddenly turned 180 degrees. Although Hokage did not do well in the third-generation project, everyone saw his majesty in that position and the benefits he reaped from it. The Hokage throne is indeed extremely tempting. The hearts of countless people are full of fire, whether you are qualified to run for office, qualified to vote, or qualified to take a stand. Many strong men have emerged in Konoha during the three wars, but there are only a few people who are truly qualified to occupy that position, and everyone knows it. In World War II and 3 battles, Orochimaru, who dominated the field and was the most accomplished in Konoha, Namake's Minato, who turned the tide at the most critical moment and turned the tide of the war on his own, and Uchiha, the country of water, fights on a single front alone. Among them, Orochimaru has the highest voice. Although this snake looks gloomy and seems to be very perverted, unexpectedly, it has a very charming personality. Many people may not like him, but if they choose Hokage, they will still vote for Uncle Snake. Without it, even ordinary people understand that being a good Hokage and being a good ninja are completely different things. After all, Hokage is not about fighting and killing, but about worldliness, and the direction of skill points is different. Orochimaru, both. He is the gust of wind that will soon lead Konoha's old windmill to spin again. He is also the most suitable candidate for the position of Hokage. Countless people think so, and firmly believe it. Orochimaru himself is no exception. If he had to describe his thoughts at the moment, it would be, the position of Hokage must be given to me. Who else would it be than me? Or, double kings, for twos, The remaining cards can be connected into a plane. How do you want me to lose? What lose? He didn't even go around canvassing like Uchiha. He looked calm and calm. However, one evening, a familiar old figure rarely walked into the Uchiha tribe. Late that night, Nanga Shrine. I decided to support Namake's Minato. Uchiha Fugaku said this to Uchiha's Jonin with a wise and confident look on his face. It's great to be a Hokage. It can completely change the family's situation, grow stronger, and restore the glory of Uchiha. But have you ever thought about what will happen if you fail? The hostility and targeting of the previous generation Hokage and the higher-ups have caused heavy losses to the family, and they have paid countless prices that should not have been paid. If you offend the new Hokage again, and he is still young and powerful, and has been in power for at least 20 to 30 years at that time, how should Uchiha deal with himself? Is he really planning a rebellion? Can we defeat Konoha with Dr. Ninjutsu, Golden Flash, and Cold Lord Orochimaru? With the current situation, I am only ranked 3rd, not to mention surpassing Orochimaru, not even Namake's Minato. In addition, the 3rd generation project and other senior management are not willing to let Uchiha take Hokage's position, and the variables will be even greater. It can be said that my chance of being elected is almost 0. In this case, I have to make plans in advance. Family members, you must listen to me this time. My wife, Uchiha Makoto, and Minato Namake's fiancé Uzumaki Kushina are best friends and have a very good relationship. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for the family. There is also Uchiha Obito. Although he died in the battle, he was once a disciple of Namake's Minato, and this connection is still there. Golden Flash will definitely not be hostile to Uchiha. Moreover, Namake's Minato's voice is currently at a disadvantage. If he takes the position of Hokage because of our Uchiha support, then think about how he will treat us Uchiha. Also, Namake's Minato is not Orochimaru. He has direct forces and die-hard supporters under him. He only has a voice, and this alone cannot help him sit in that position. If you really succeed in rising to the top of the Hokage, if you want to take control of the power and express your ambitions, you must have trustworthy subordinates. Then, isn't it our Uchiha's chance? The wise Uchiha Fugaku has completely forgotten why he ran for Hokage. Facing the elites of the family, he gave a passionate speech. Moreover, it still sounds so reasonable and well-founded, and it seems that the future is bright. And the people of Uchiha were once again deceived by their clan leader. When the next day, a lot of new faces named Sarutobi suddenly appeared in Konoha, Jonin, and Uchiha. The one with the most Jonin weirdly voted for Golden Flash. Orochimaru's face instantly turned extremely ugly. The entire aura seemed to turn dark in an instant, like a black hole, swallowing everything and reaching no bottom. He didn't really care about the Hokage, really. I wanted to do 4th generation, but I just felt that it was time to change something. I want to prove to the teacher Sarutobi Hiruzen that I can do everything and do everything well. I want to see what the Konoha leaves will look like when they are blown by a gust of new wind. But 3rd generation didn't even discuss it with him and directly cut off its own escape route. In full view of the public, the raw rice was turned into cooked rice. 4th generation, congratulations. Orochimaru looked deeply at Namake's Minato. He laughed loudly, tossed his sleeves, and left. Chapter 072. The rise of Namake's Minato really gave Uchiha a sigh of relief. Because not only Fugaku, but also everyone else saw the dependence between the 4th generation and Uchiha. Not only do they have a deep personal relationship with each other, Mikoto and Kushina are close friends, and Uchiha Fugaku himself once fought alongside Namake's Minato. Moreover, they are natural allies based on interests and situations. Even though Sarutobi Hiruzen is still sitting in the Hokage office, even though the elderly 3rd generation project is still in charge of many major events, even though Namake's Minato seems to have insufficient authority, but many people who had tried their best to slander, target, and exclude Uchiha in the past began to quietly approach and show their favor. Even the Sarutobi clan or other direct descendants of the 3rd generation do not dare to act too much now. After all, Namake's Minato was too young, more than 30 years younger than Sarutobi Hiruzen. In other words, after killing Hiruzen Sarutobi, he can still be a Hokage for another 30 years. With such a long time span, no one can predict what will happen during this period and where the situation will go. The wily 3rd generation project itself does not dare to guarantee it. Facing the major favorable political situation, Uchiha seems to have suddenly changed from a street rat that everyone yelled at to a truly respected and trusted #1 wealthy family. Within the family, the usual strong hostility has dissipated a lot, and everyone's face is full of smiles. Everything seems to be developing in the best direction. But unfortunately, the good times did not last long. Just less than a year, one night, when a shocking beast roar resounded over Konoha, the entire Uchiha was stunned. Nine tails ran out, and the clear Sharingan pattern was printed in the huge pupils. Tailed beasts are synonymous with disaster, not to mention the strongest nine tails. Just because of its huge size, every move naturally carries great power. With a random wave of his claws, entire buildings would be completely flattened or collapsed. Moreover, for some reason, Nine Tails was still on the periphery when it first appeared. The next moment, it was strangely transferred directly into the center of the village. Konoha didn't even react, and the losses were already extremely heavy. Faced with this horrific disaster, many ninjas rushed forward without even thinking about it, relying on some weak ninjutsu methods, trying to limit or even repel Nine Tails, even if the power is completely unmatched, even if his full attack can only tickle the tailed beast. But the opponent can sweep it all away with just a wave of his claws. But as long as it can add 1 second to the rear to transfer family members, they will not hesitate to sacrifice their lives. Uchiha is no exception. A group of jonin with 3 Magatama, plus Shun Shursui, a top expert with a well-known reputation, wearing battle attire, under the leadership of Uchiha Fugaku, they headed towards the direction of Nine Tails with great momentum. However, as soon as they rushed out of the house, immediately, I saw a large group of masked root ninjas surrounding the tribe and the police department. Shimura Danzo took the lead. An extremely dark and cold look was locked on everyone in Uchiha, especially Fugaku and Shursui. He said with a strong voice, "The police department's job is to evacuate people and protect non-combatants." This? Uchiha Shursui looked stunned, and after a slight hesitation, he looked at the head of his family. And Uchiha Fugaku stood there for a few seconds, then turned around and went back. At this moment, on the scroll, there has been a lot of discussion because of Uchiha Fugaku's series of mysterious operations that make people scratch their heads. Some people marvel at it, some people are angry and don't argue with it, and some people talk dirty. But at this moment, after seeing this unspeakable scene, everyone was stunned again. It was like my brain was suddenly refreshed, or some kind of lower limit was suddenly exceeded. I couldn't even speak for a while. However, after the brief silence, there was an even greater surge. "Minato Namikaze, what do I need you for? Is there what use loud roar?" Duanzo is indeed very hateful. He still thinks about personal interests at such a critical moment. But you, Uchiha Fugaku, are more hateful and have no backbone at all. Are you still Uchiha? I am sorry for his misfortune, but angry for his inability to fight. You are obedient to the outside world and strike hard at home. If you had even half the strength to force Uchiha to go to the land of water to die, things would not have developed to that extent. There were 10,000 reasons why he had to go, and there was only one reason not to go, and he chose that one. Uchiha is also a part of the village in the name of justice. If you don't help the village when it's in trouble, politically speaking, Namikaze Minato is your lord, but you failed to stick to your covenant when strength was most needed and betrayed this community of interests. Even from a family perspective, in this situation, only blood can wash away the sewage and suspicion on the body. I don't understand. I really don't understand why he made this choice. Just because of Shimura Danzo's words? Danzo already hates Uchiha to the core. How can he hate Uchiha even more if he offends her again? It is completely incomprehensible. Original Uchiha Shursui, undead, the root of the genocide was laid at that time. The death of the 4th generation and the rebellion of Nine Tails were all poured on Uchiha's head, and they couldn't be washed away. By the time the family reacted, there was no way out except rebellion. Original Senju Tobarama, undead. Uchiha can also have a person with this kind of personality, and he is also the leader of the clan. Ninja World Uehara Sasuke, Shursui, you are also a waste. You only have the strength of a strong man, but you don't have the pride and determination of a strong man. Just drive Susanoo up and see if Danzo dares to stop him. By the way, brother Shursui, I'm not talking about you. You're a waste from another world. Ninja World Uchiha Shursui. It's okay. I'm a weak person to begin with. Not everyone can have your father's style and caliber. He is a true giant, no matter in every aspect. Original Uchiha Itachi. Why is this different from what Danzo told me? Amid countless angry comments, the video quickly moved on to the next stage. Due to Uchiha Fugaku's poor decision-making during the Nine Tails Rebellion, Uchiha was suspected of manipulating Nine Tails to destroy Konoha and murdering the 4th generation couple. The voice of public opinion suddenly turned sharply. Even the previously neutral people, and even some ninjas who were optimistic about and respected Uchiha, began to lose their firm stance. Taking a step back, even if no evidence is found, even if Uchiha really did not do this, but at such a critical moment, he chose to stand by and watch, and it was difficult not to be suspicious of his intentions. Statements such as Uchiha just want to sit back and watch the village suffer heavy losses in strength, waiting for high-level casualties, and then take the opportunity to launch an armed coup. It is difficult to prove his innocence in the dust. Not long after, on the eve of the 5th-generation election, Orochimaru was discovered to be conducting cruel human experiments, and he also used ninjas from his own village. He cut off the ties with a smile, as if he had brushed off an insignificant speck of dust from his body, and became a rebel ninja without any burden or even as if his dream had come true. Not long after, the 3rd generation came back to power and the political situation returned to its original state. Not long after, Danzo took the opportunity to rebuild the village. The entire Uchiha clan was driven to the edge of the world. Moreover, they monitored the entire place from inside to outside. Even children and the elderly were not spared. And this time, Uchiha Fugaku still chose to back down. The suspicion on him had not been cleared to begin with, and now, all kinds of suspicions were spreading throughout the city again. If Uchiha was innocent, if he had nothing to regret, why was he under surveillance? Why did he move to a place like that? And why did he agree to move to a place like that? As the richest family in the world, they live farther away than ordinary villagers. For many people who do not know the truth, such behavior is almost tantamount to confessing oneself. The top leader's undisguised coercion and suppression, the strange looks from countless people, and the increasingly heated discussions on the streets, even the good-tempered Uchiha was becoming increasingly unbearable. Rebellion has become almost inevitable, and there is no possibility of avoiding it. It has become a multiple-choice question with only one option. Even though Uchiha Shursui, the strongest and most trusted member of the clan, broke the clan's plan with his own death, it still couldn't delay the situation for too long. When Mikoto's second son was 7 years old, 6 years after the Nine-Tails Rebellion, the divided Uchiha finally reached a consensus and decided to launch a coup. Unfortunately, this was destined to be an extremely failed rebellion, as all their actions were clearly known to the top leaders. The night before the coup, Uchiha Itachi, a double agent sent to Umbu, accepted a special mission from a high-ranking official in exchange for saving his brother. That is to use one's own strength to end the rebellion and maintain the hard-won peace. Self-sacrifice is what I understand as a ninja. Where there is light, there is shadow. This world cannot be all bright and beautiful. Ninja has never been a glorious and righteous term. Never seeing the sun, silently moving forward with heavy burdens, being a hero in the dark, this has always been the original attitude of a ninja, and it is also the most correct attitude. Not only you, many ninjas died silently like this. It is because of these people that the world can maintain peace. Danzo said so. So, Uchiha Itachi took a machete and chopped from Nanshimen all the way to Ponglai East Road. No. He chopped all the way from the village gate to the Nanga Shrine without even blinking an eye. He is indeed a genius. The combat IQ is extremely high, and many simple moves can often turn decay into magic, showing different energy. In the entire Hokage, perhaps only characters like Minato Namikaze and Senju Tobarama can be compared to him. Not to mention, there are countless root ninjas surrounding them, and there are bug-level beings like Kimura Bito assisting them. The Uchiha, who were feared throughout the ninja world, had almost no power to resist and were all killed in one night. The only one who could possibly stop them is probably Fugaku, who is also a Mangekyo and has shown impressive combat prowess in the 3 wars. However, the patriarch once again chose to retreat. Faced with the tragedy of his entire family being killed, and the tragedy of his own son standing in front of his parents with a butcher knife raised, he just smiled and said, "It seems you have made a decision, let's do it." Then, he closed his eyes and killed his neck with peace of mind. He even knelt on the cushion in an upright and graceful manner, maintaining his posture to the utmost detail, and was proud of being such a ferret. On the huge scroll, Uchiha Itachi held a sharp blade with a tense expression. The bloody Magatama in his eyes rotated rapidly, with a serious and vigilant look on his face. And opposite him, Fugaku knelt down feeling at ease, even as if he was about to be liberated, without any pressure at all. As for Mikoto, as today's protagonist, her picture is given a close-up. Even though he was kneeling in the same posture, his eyes had completely lost their light. The whole person seemed to be numb, stunned, that feeling of deathly silence, as if it were a walking corpse, struck the deepest part of everyone's soul. He clearly didn't show the slightest sadness or despair, and even had no emotions at all. But it made everyone clearly feel what it means to be sad and despair, and what it means to lose all hope. The sadness after extreme sadness, the despair after extreme despair. It hurts so much. It really hurts. Watching the family step by step until it is beyond redemption, witnessing his son massacre an entire clan, staged a human tragedy of father and son killing each other, mother and son killing each other. I looked at my relatives many times. My parents died inexplicably. My grandfather left with regret and remorse. My husband was killed by his son, 2 children. One is willing to cut off all the emotions he cherishes for the sake of justice in his heart. It is foreseeable that in the future he will be despised by everyone and live in guilt, conspiracy, and countless filthy words. The other one is lonely, surrounded and driven by hatred and pain all his life, without any happiness. But I can only watch all this happen, unable to change anything. How sad is this? Mikoto eventually died. A bright sword light filled the entire screen, while the surrounding area was dark, like a crescent moon. The light of the knife seemed to have hit the tear ducts of the audience, and countless people burst into tears. Although, for many people, that kind of pain is difficult to imagine, even to understand, let alone to empathize with it. But as long as you imagine that kind of thing happening to yourself, boundless fear will immediately appear, and then powerful power will emerge. Chapter 073. After Mikoto died, the video did not end there. Instead, the angle of view is slowly stretched and raised until the entire Uchiha tribe is fully displayed. Uchiha after relocation, the location may be very remote, but the area of the clan is more than several times larger than before. At this moment, countless figures were walking through the huge manor. A mysterious man with a tiger skin spiral pattern mask on his face. From time to time, he would pluck Sharingan from the corpses on the ground one by one, soak it in a potion bottle, and then disappear with a wave of his hand. On the periphery, there are a large number of root ninjas, with a cold expression. His movements were precise and skillful, and he hit every Uchiha tribesman who fell to the ground. Whether it's a ninja or an ordinary person, no matter it is an innocent child learning to speak, or an old man who is already decrepit, everyone, no one was spared. It is not an exaggeration to describe it. That is, even the egg yolks have to be shaken away, the earthworms have to be split vertically, and the ant nests have to be filled with boiling water 5 or 6 times. Bodies everywhere, rivers of blood, no humans or animals left, not a blade of grass growing. This is Uchiha at this moment. Because it is Mikoto's comparison video, a lot of details were not shown previously. Many people don't have a clear idea of Uchiha, the former #1 wealthy family, and they even only know its name. But at this moment, when looking at the whole picture from an overlooking perspective, almost all the audience, especially those from the original ninja world, were instantly stunned. At the end of the 4th Ninja War, the Sarutobi clan alone organized 3,000 ninja troops to participate in the war. And even if all the people are soldiers, and they are not engaged in production activities at all, and do not consider logistics supply, a 3,000 army will require at least tens of thousands of people to produce. Uchiha, the most wealthy family, the foundation and inheritance were not superior to Sarutobi's in the slightest, but the two were not at the same level at all. Although the losses in World War II and 3 wars were extremely heavy, especially during the 3rd Ninja World War, the backbone was almost broken, and not even one of the pillars of the clan remained. But more than 90% of those who died in the battle were ninjas, or combatants in the family. In addition to ninjas, they also have a large number of ordinary people. The newly built Uchiha tribe is almost like a small town, and it even has a dedicated commercial area. There is a whole street of shops, restaurants, bookstores, flower shops, bathhouses, clothing, cutting tool shops, etc. It can be said that everything is available. Just looking at these densely packed shops, one can imagine the prosperity of the past. But at this moment, the streets are covered with corpses, spread by blood and water. From time to time, there were still some figures running around and hiding, but they were all quickly caught up and killed by the root ninjas. Looking at countless children, countless old people, countless women, and countless disabled people with broken arms and legs, falling in a pool of blood with a face full of doubts, fear, or despair. Above the scroll, a torrent of barrage suddenly erupted that was 10 times more violent than ever before. The violent here not only describes the number of barrages, but also the ferocious content. Even ordinary people, old, weak, women, and children living in the clan area have been killed. Are they still human? It's not until today that I've seen what true cold-bloodedness is. It's really eye-opening. It's amazing. It's amazing. You beast. Really, even beasts are better than you. The world without Uehara-kun is indeed ignorant, backward, lifeless, and hopeless. I really want to know what he was thinking when he was doing these things. Uchiha never thought that it was his own people who did it, right? Sarutobi Hiruzen had a good dog, and his dog had a better dog. Senju is gone, Hyuga is useless, Uchiha is dead, and I, Sarutobi, can finally dominate and stand firm. It's so funny. The Uchiha clan is really full of talented people. Uchiha Shursui, Uchiha Fugaku, Uchiha Itachi, awesome. The painting condenses a person's decades of experience and what he has seen and heard into just a few dozen minutes. The audiences of the two ninja worlds almost saw with their own eyes how Uchiha got to this point. First, through public opinion guidance, Uchiha gradually left the village and became a lonely person. Then, during the Second Ninja World War, the Mesozoic era, which was the backbone of the ninja world, was targeted and even assassinated and suffered heavy casualties. Then came the Third World War, where they were forced to go to the front line of the Land of Water, which was not conducive to the Uchiha War. This time, although several geniuses emerged, Shursui even opened Mangekyo, but as the foundation of the clan, the experienced old generation of strong men, and the future of the entire clan, that is, the large number of young people, all of them were consumed completely. Uchiha, in fact, has become a hollow shell of a powerful family with only the name, and its strength has weakened to the lowest point in history. Fortunately, the three warriors made great efforts, with one clan fighting against one village, and they managed to hold the front line. Many people have seen the huge price paid and the great achievements made. At this time, Uchiha still had one last bit of capital, which was reputation. The glory and reputation gained through countless sacrifices and military exploits, no matter how much the higher-ups slander and smear them, it will not affect the reputation of the number one wealthy family in the slightest. If someone wanted to destroy Uchiha at this time, they would be against the entire Konoha. They've made such a great sacrifice for Konoha, and you actually want to take advantage of the opportunity to destroy them? When the rabbit dies, the fox mourns. When the lips and teeth are gone, all the bloodline and mystic families will unite against the common enemy and will not let the top leaders act too recklessly. This can be seen from the fact that Fugaku, an evil Uchiha, was nominated for the fourth Hokage without any hindrance or controversy. However, the Nine-Tails Rebellion and the death of the fourth generation, coupled with the deterioration of the political situation and the unremitting efforts of some people, even this last bit of support was finally consumed completely. Then, Uchiha Itachi appeared. In a sense, he was not the creator of the Night of Extermination, but just a handy tool. Even if there is no Uchiha Itachi, there must be Sarutobi Itachi and Shimura Itachi. Everything is already destined. Seeing the top family in the ninja world fall step by step to the point of being exterminated and their bloodline almost cut off, countless viewers sighed and expressed anger. To talk about the contribution of the Uchiha clan, the first one is Sarutobi Hiruzen. He is the mastermind and manipulator behind all the conspiracies. Even Shimura Danzo was just being used. The second is Uchiha Fugaku. This idiot can choose the only most wrong option with incredible accuracy at every step. She is more like a spy than a spy. If Mangekyo could not lie, one would really doubt her intentions. The cooperation between Crouching Dragon and Phoenix Chu is seamless, as if they have telepathic connection. It's absolutely amazing, truly the best. Original Uchiha's poor resume playback completed. Now start comparing Ninja World Uchiha Mikoto. Chapter 074. Original Uchiha No Money Resume has finished playing. Now let's compare the Ninja World Uchiha Mikoto as usual. The scroll leaves a buffer time of 10 minutes in the middle. After everyone had vented their emotions, the shining golden letters appeared again. Background introduction: Ninja World Uchiha Mikoto. The current chief elder of the wealthy Uchiha clan, Mrs. Shimei Uehara of the 4th Hokage, mother of the eldest son of the Hokage Uehara Sasuke, head of the Secretariat and Chief Secretary of the Hokage Office, Deputy Director of Konoha Propaganda Department, Secretary of the Supreme Roundtable of the Light and Shadow Alliance, Initiator of Mangekyo Sharingan, S-Class Elite Ninja, the 2nd to 4th King of the 7 Ninja Sect of Jinshu. Mikoto with titles: Jinshu, Great Secretary, Madam Hokage, Golden Generation, Storm Crimson, Mangekyo. There are many Hokage secretaries, and the candidates change from time to time. The Chief Secretary has always been Uchiha Mikoto, owning the Sharingan, the blood successor of the Uchiha clan, and developing it to the highest level Mangekyo. one of the registered disciples of Orochimaru, one of the Sannin, contracted with Ruji Cave, one of the 3 holy places in the psychic world, master the special property changes of fire style, blood flames, and the derived wind and fire compound ninjutsu, and be able to attach them to Susanoo, known as the Storm Crimson King. Style Jinjutsu has great talent and attainments, and was once selected as the 7 ninja sect under the king. Learn and master the acquired blood limit, Scorch Style. You can use the immortal rune developed by Shimei Uehara to briefly enter Sage Mode, 3 to 5 minutes, won the title of Konoha's Outstanding Ninja, Konoha's Outstanding Educator, and Konoha's Outstanding Administrator 4 times. Praised many times by Shimei Uehara of 4th Hokage as the gentlest Uchiha, the cutest. Mikoto and the God of Cooking, Mission Experience. 78 times S level, 123 times A level, 234 times B level, 345 times C level, 20 times D level, Golden Generation. Konoha 34 to 37 years, including Uehara Shimei, Namikaze Minato, Senju Nawaki, Hyuga Hayashi, Hyuga Hizashi, Hyuga Yari, Uzumaki Kushina, Uchiha Mikoto, Yakushi Nono, Contemporary Inakacho, etc. Graduating from ninja schools one after another, because a large number of movie-level and even super powerful people have emerged from it, and they have become the absolute main force in the new power structure established by 4th Hokage. Uehara Shimei is also known as Golden Flash, and together with the Yellow Flash Namikaze Minato, they are also called the Golden Combination. They are the first combination that surpasses the AB combination, and their strength and record are powerful in the ninja world. Therefore, the ninja world collectively calls this group the Golden Generation. It refers to the contemporaries of the Golden Combination, and it is also the recognition and praise for their ability to stand beside the Golden Combination and follow the Golden Combination. Metkai, Yuhi Kurinai, Noera Lin, Aburame Shirwei, Tanaka Sanin, Kato Shizun, Uzumaki Lin Lin, Hataki Kakashi, Uchiha Shursui, Uchiha Obito and others are the Golden Second Generation of Konoha. Headed by the 4 Hokage sons, Sasuke Uehara, Naruto Uehara, Neji Uehara, and Maki Uehara, plus Mima Namikaze, Mirai Senju, and Takuto Hataki. They are the Golden Third Generation that has attracted much attention. After that, due to the establishment of Konoha Advanced Ninja School, the Golden Fourth Generation was no longer born. The Gold members of all generations and all high-level ninja school students have been personally mentored by 4th Hokage Uehara Shimei. They have extraordinary strength, noble moral character, and are highly trusted and respected. It is the cornerstone of his long-cherished wish for world peace and the pillar after the birth of the new world. On the scroll, golden subtitles appear line by line. Everyone in the primitive ninja world widened their eyes, obviously shocked. Uchiha Mikoto in another world actually activated Mangekyo and became the great elder of the Uchiha clan. He was even accepted as a disciple by one of the Sannin. Although it was only by name, he was even given a psychic contract, which was not much different from being a direct disciple. In addition, the titles of Storm Crimson and Golden Generation are also extremely popular, and one can imagine their strength. You can feel the majesty and happiness of this Mikoto without even watching the comparison video below. No matter from every aspect, Mikoto, the original ninja world, was severely crushed. Storm Red, I heard it was a title given by Lord Hokage. It's so cool. I wish I were a woman. It's awesome up there. Have you mastered the method of acquiring blood inheritance limits? How come so many people have blood inheritance limits? I think the summary of the worlds will is incomplete. Mikoto should have another title, that is, the Savior of Uchiha, or the Savior of Uchiha. Terror, Mangekyo plus Sage Jutsu, plus the attribute blood succession limit. This is not weaker than the ordinary Kage at all, right? Your Konoha is too strong. If I count, there are hundreds of elite ninjas whose names I know now, and there is also the strongest Hokage in the ninja world. For those of you who are ignorant, Mikoto's greatest strength is not her strength. Do you think that the God of Cooking is a joke? Damn, why are you so fat? You just finished eating. Why are you starting to get hungry again just by talking? Most of the audience just sighed, but many members of the Uchiha tribe in the original ninja world were envious in real name. Since the establishment of Konoha, including Uchiha Kagami, the second-generation disciple, and Uchiha Shursui, the strongest person, no Uchiha has ever truly gained the full trust of the higher-ups and the full recognition of other ninjas in the same village. None. The prevention, suppression, and various conspiracies against Uchiha never stopped after the first generation gradually ignored government affairs, until they were completely exterminated. After they saw Mikoto's achievements and the honor, trust, and recognition he had, While he was happy to see Uchiha in another world, he was also extremely sad and dejected. Also among the numerous discussions among the audience, the video starts playing. It started with the same scene as the original Mikoto, a middle-aged man with several hideous scars crisscrossing his face. His expression was gentle and completely inconsistent with his fierce appearance. After putting the child in his arms into the crib, he jumped 3 feet in the air with exaggerated movements and an even more exaggerated expression, laughing loudly. Ha ha ha, I have a daughter too. Both Mikoto's childhoods were very happy, even though Uchiha's situation has begun to turn bad at this time. His own strength is still there, but there are just some rumors, and no one really dares to do anything. Moreover, those things cannot affect the granddaughter of the great elder at all. In addition, there is a father who has a top-notch daughter slave, and a grandfather who has a top-notch granddaughter slave. Many of the scenes are very warm. The audience who watched it wished they could go home and have a daughter right away. Soon, little Mikoto went to school at the age of 6. This batch of hers can be said to have attracted much attention. The last batch included Hyuga Hayashi, the Hyuga clan, and the following one has the contemporary Inakacho. Even in the same issue, there was a young master from the Senju family, Shungshu. But the audience knows that the real king is still behind. The golden combination, Uehara Shimei and Namikaze Minato. Advertisement. Chapter 075. Mikoto's days at school were peaceful. I can't say that there were no disturbances, but even if there were some twists and turns, it was just a bit of harmless jealousy among the kids at school. Anyone who can remember it after 3 days is considered a talent. Soon, the video only flashed a few times, and it was the 32nd year of Konoha. This year, Mikoto entered the 4th grade. It was also this year that the contemporary Ino Shikacho entered the school, which also attracted much attention. Especially this year, a madman came to the ninja school, a perverted maniac who defeated the entire school's invincible opponents with just a slap in the face, making countless school bullies, academic bullies, and all kinds of bullies tremble in fear. The screen flashed. On the training ground of the ninja school, 5 or 6 students were already lying on the ground. Everyone has one side of their cheeks that is swollen. There is also a blood-red palm print hanging on it. The color is bright and it is very heart-rending and inhumane. Not only them, beside these students who fell to the ground, there were many others standing with the same palm prints on their faces. Obviously, they were also poisoned by someone, but the health bar was thicker and they recovered again. There are even many girls here, but they have not been able to escape the ruthless hand. And in front of everyone, one hand of Naoshu pointed straight forward, while the other hand was inserted boldly at his waist. He shouted loudly, Uehara Shimei, let me tell you, don't be too proud. I will end the undefeated legend of the slap maniac, and I will protect the dignity of the senior students. I am Lord Naoki, who vowed to become a Hokage. Opposite him, Shimei Uehara put his hands in his pockets and looked like he was extremely stinky. By the way, if I beat you, no one will come to trouble me, right? What do you think I am? I want to be a Hokage, don't worry. Even if we really lose, I, Shungshu, will only find it myself in training. As soon as he said this, the person opposite him had an obviously malicious smile on his lips. That's good, hey bang. Uehara Shimei said. Before the words could even be finished, the person had already disappeared from the spot. The next moment, everyone saw a black light and shadow flash past in the video. There was already a fresh palm print on Shungshu's right cheek, which gradually became larger in size and redder in color. F.A. What happened? Shungshu's eyes were blank, but soon, after reacting, he became unconvinced. You carried out a sneak attack without practicing martial ethics. I was just careless. This doesn't count as a do-over for us. However, Shungshu's words obviously lacked confidence, because after he said the harsh words, he immediately pulled Mikoto, who was second in the class, out of the crowd. You used the shuriken to interfere from a distance and wait for an opportunity to make a sneak attack. I will contain you at close range. I don't believe it. The two of us can't beat him. Mikoto's face is a little pale. Apparently he was caught off guard by Naoshu's sudden hand. But he quickly took out the shuriken from the knife bag obediently. His expression became serious, and he was not timid. This time, 2 versus 1 plus being careful about sneak attacks from the beginning, the scene was indeed much better. At least there was some back and forth on the surface. Mikoto's precise and smooth Uchiha-style throwing technique. The whole person seemed to have turned into a fort, with shurikens, kunai, darts, sanbon and other objects shooting at an almost continuous speed. Every timing, angle, direction, strength, etc. were chosen and judged just right. Regardless of the effect, the picture is very pleasing to the eye. The rope tree finally began to exert the secret power of the Senju clan. The wind was generated by the waving of the small fist, and the airflow escaping from the chakra was clearly visible. If you accidentally touch one, you may not be able to get out of bed for several days. From time to time, he can also use some tricks to release one or two ninjutsu, and he does have a bit of an elite image. However, their majesty only lasted 10 seconds. Uehara Shimei relied on his superb speed and physical skills to wander and dodge between the two for a while. After figuring out their fighting rhythm, immediately push yourself upwards. After activating the teleportation technique, he suddenly appeared on the left side of the rope tree. A powerful and heavy slap landed on the other side of the rope tree's face that was still intact. He directly hit the rope tree until it flew sideways and fell heavily to the ground unconscious. After hitting the flying rope tree, this guy didn't stop at all. He ran directly towards Mikoto. The strange movement skills of dodging 3 times and 2 making Mikoto's throwing skills and great fireball useless. Seeing that the famous slapping maniac has arrived, he is about to use the legendary slapping skill. Mikoto was frightened and turned pale. She closed her eyes tightly, her expression was tense, and her body began to tremble violently. Just by looking at this picture, you can clearly feel her fear. My heart was pounding and I was extremely scared. However, she waited for a long time, but she didn't get the heavy slap in the face. After secretly opening her eyes a crack, she found that the hateful slap maniac was actually looking at her with a smile on his face. "You are very cute. I like you very much." Uehara Siming leaned forward, put his mouth close to the ear of the cute girl opposite him, and whispered. Then, he gently placed his palm on Uchiha Mikoto's right cheek. "That's right, just release it. There is no force at all. It's totally fine to call it touching or stroking." Mikoto was so frightened when she saw the slap maniac finally raise his arm that she closed her eyes again. After feeling the burning palm, it did not cause pain as expected, and hearing a strange voice in my ear, finally, he relaxed a little, opened his eyes, and began to look around. After seeing that Uehara Siming was no longer in front of him, he breathed a sigh of relief. Then, a beautiful sunset glow appeared on that lovely face. At this moment, an arrogant roar was heard from outside the screen. "The 4th graders have finished fighting. 5th graders, get out there, lousy." Listening to Uehara Siming's arrogant speech, under the scroll, countless viewers suddenly felt confused. Especially the original ninja world. Although I have already known a little about the unique personality of this 4th Hokage, but after really feeling it, I couldn't help but want to cover my face. A freshman who has just entered school, does not study hard, and does not try to get along with classmates. He challenged everyone one by one according to their grade level, and knocked them all down in a very humiliating way. This is simply a bandit bully, right? Some people are dissatisfied with the different treatment of their 4th generation. Why is it that Mikoto only touched lightly, but the other students were so powerful that they knocked people away? Is it because she is cute? How can it be repaired? Hokage-sama seemed a bit arrogant when he was little. Arrogant? A little arrogant? Do you have any misunderstanding about these 2 words? He is more than arrogant. He is downright arrogant and lawless. He even hit the teacher. The senior Chunin was stunned on the spot. Otherwise, how do you think he got the title of Slap Maniac? The 4th generation's taijutsu is really outrageous, and the speed is ridiculous, faster than Senior Dai and Teacher Kai, and it doesn't seem like something a human can perform at all. I remember that Hokage-sama was an orphan. He was so arrogant when he was a child. Isn't he afraid of being taught a lesson? Matt Dai. Education? Come on. Look at my fists and 8 gates. I allow you to reorganize your language. Author's note. In this book, Might Dai is not a 10,000-year genin. While everyone was discussing, the video entered the next stage. A standard old-fashioned lecture hall. Uchiha Mikoto was packing up to go home, and the other students around her were also scattered. Most of them had already run away after the bell rang. Suddenly, there was a sound of something heavy falling to the ground. Mikoto looked up and saw a dark shadow flying in from the window and landing precisely on the seat next to her. It turned out to be our slap maniac Uehara Siming. At this time, Uehara Mikoto had obviously become familiar with Uchiha Mikoto. Mikoto didn't care at all. She lowered her head and continued to organize her books, seeming to be oblivious to the people around her. Moreover, there were some subtle changes in the height and attire of the 2 people, probably because some time had passed in between. Uehara Siming stared at Mikoto's face with a pair of sincere, big eyes, smiling and looking at the embarrassed Mikoto. Said in a frivolous tone, "Mikoto, is it possible that you really want to treat me to a meal, but you are too shy to ask because you want to be reserved? In fact, you can try it. Really, with just one sentence, I will immediately let you know what it means to make your wishes come true and your dreams come true. I am a person who is always happy to satisfy the wishes of beautiful women." After this was said, Mikoto did not react in the video. On the scroll, the barrage of comments has begun to rise. So this is how Hokage-sama cheated on girls when he was a kid. He learned it, but he lost it now. This is obviously the fourth generation who wants to be treated to a meal, right? Poor Mikoto. She's about to be deceived by this pervert, Uehara Siming. Mikoto, don't listen to his nonsense and let that guy starve. In fact, I think that with Mikoto's personality, if she wanted to treat Uehara-kun to a meal, she might be embarrassed. Hokage-sama had a very hard childhood. He couldn't even afford to eat. The one above, I feel like there's something wrong with you.
Thanks for watching. You can find the next videos in the playlist linked in the info card, directly on my channel, or right here on the screen. And as always, if you have any feedback, feel free to share it in the comments too.